32 red! Incredible! Play our exclusive slots like The Cube, I'm a Celeb, and Tipping Point. Join and get a welcome bonus up to £150! Only at 32red.com.
Avoid online trackers, malware-ridden files. Zen. Be more cyber zen. Get NordVPN. Enjoy cleaner, safer, and more private internet daily.
When you finally discover that perfect vacation, give into it.
Welcome to Kissimmee.
A place where plans get bigger. A land that sees you're big and bold and smiles right back.
It's a Kissimmee thing.
Big as our attractions and escapes. Bold as our spirit, rising to meet you. Welcome to more than special.
Welcome to the big, bold heart of Florida.
Welcome to Kissimmee.
Good afternoon, welcome along to Rangers TV. You're not imagining it, it is live football at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Hertha Berlin against Rangers from the club's training camp at the resort in La Manga in Spain. I'm Andrew Dixon, thank you very much for joining us for this afternoon's coverage. Joining me today is a man who knows all about taking on German teams. He did it with Rangers 4 times in the Champions League against Stuttgart. He was also in the squad which took on Werder Bremen on the way to the 2008 UEFA Cup final, in which he played as well. It is, of course, Kevin Thompson. Kevin, thank you very much for joining us. These games in mid-season friendlies, you don't always take too much from them, but what can Rangers expect to take from this fixture this afternoon?
Yeah, thanks for having me, as usual. I suppose a wee bit different, Andrew, in the respect that we went to Germany pre-season. The German teams that I did play against were competitive games, so it'll be a wee bit unsure to see how things go, whether they'll change the team at half-time, which minutes players are going to get, who needs to get up to speed, but I certainly think it'll be a competitive challenge. We can see obviously the footage in the background, the pitch looks lovely, the sun's shining, a bit different for Glasgow, but I'm pretty sure it'll be a worthy task for the boys, and the manager will give them some food for thought.
Yeah, it is about 10 degrees warmer in La Manga than it is over in Glasgow, so very, very welcome change in scenery and a background for Rangers. A little bit about Hertha Berlin, today's opponents, just to give you an idea of what to expect. Relegated from the Bundesliga as the bottom team last season, a very indifferent start to this season as well, 6 defeats in their first 11, but since then, 9 unbeaten in competitive fixtures. They haven't played for the best part of a month competitively, although they did play in midweek against the Belgian team Mechelen, lost 3-0. Nevertheless, this should be a fairly decent test for Rangers, because as you know yourself, Kevin, having gone to Germany in pre-season, played teams from the 3rd tier, 4th tier, they're always pretty good teams to come up against, especially in games like this. Yeah,
I always think back to how cute and clever the manager was at the time, and you couldn't work under anyone better than Walter Smith, but I used to always be quite intrigued, now that I suppose I've retired and reflected, that you go over to Germany, they're fit, they're strong, they're robust. Sometimes the pitches are sticky, especially pre-season. You're there to get fit, and the quality that these German boys have got is really high and competitive. And I always think back that it was quite clever for Walter to obviously take us over there to get us fit and to give us real competitive games to try and get us the right base for obviously the start of the season.
Well, we'll get on to the team news shortly, but first let's hear from a couple of the players who will be involved in this afternoon's fixture. First, it's a man who has done extremely well in his first season at Ibrox, Jack Butland. He's had a tremendous campaign so far. Let's hear from him now.
Jack, firstly, we're here in Spain. Just looking back a bit at what has happened since you've came here, how have you looked back on your start to your Rangers career?
It's been incredible. I think obviously it's easy to say that from a position now where we feel like things are really heading in the right direction. The start of the season was somewhat eventful, but looking back on it from a individual perspective, collective perspective, playing for this club, it's been incredible. It's been good fun. It's been full of some highs and lows already. I guess that's all part and parcel of it, but it's been really enjoyable. Look, people have asked me like, what has the club sort of lived up to expectations or gone beyond that? And it's been bigger than I expected. I knew it was big, but you and people that ask, they'll never know until you're inside, until you witness it. So it's been special. I've seen glimpses of what it can be, you know, winning a trophy and seeing the celebrations and seeing that. I know things can get bigger, and that's the plan. It's gone really well. Obviously, I feel that sort of love and affection from the fans, which is something that every player wants to feel. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of memories. There's a lot of games that I look back on and just think, you know, how important they were, how much I enjoyed them, and how much that as a goalkeeper you want to have those games and make important contributions. And thankfully, I've been able to do that. And as a team, we're getting to where we need to as well. It's one of the best groups I've been involved in. It's great to say that. I think it's good to have good characters and nice characters and positive characters. I think you always need that nasty, ruthless edge as well, which I think we've got in parts. And I think as a squad, we want to bring more of what we can.
Yeah, for you as one of the more, I guess, experienced players in this group, how do you take on that role, and what kind of role do you have in this group?
For me, I've just tried to stay the same. I think I don't feel old, but I know that I've been around for a long time, so I think you do bring a different maturity to the group or experiences. You know, I've been through it all, so you know how to deal with the highs, you know how to deal with the lows. So I think it's trying to keep a positive head, because I guess people look to you. Obviously not just me, but the experienced boys in the group, you know, they look to you, they look to your reactions, they look to see, you know, when they need help, you know, where to go. And so I guess for me it's been natural. I think when you're playing and things are going well on the pitch for you, it carries a lot more weight. So I think leading by example first, I guess, is the best way to do things. Hopefully I've been doing that.
Yeah, there seems like a lot of excitement heading into this second part of the season, and I guess a lot more to come from this group and what's been achieved so far.
There should be. That's the nature of this club. It's about winning and being successful. That's what we've got to live up to. That's what we've got to do. It's not an easy task. If we thought it was easy, then we wouldn't get the success that we want. We've got to keep pushing. We've got to understand that, you know, you're not given. You've got to go and take it. You've got to go and take your opportunities, and that's certainly something that we've got to do. Do I believe we can do it? Yeah. But believing it's one thing. We've got to make sure that we do it and push each other every day. It's a time where everything's going in the right direction, and every department in this club needs to think that, realise that, and push to improve in every aspect, because that's what we need to do. And if we want to be successful this season, long term, that's what the mindset needs to be, which I'm sure it is, and I'm sure it will be.
Is that why you came here, I guess, to have those moments and win?
To win. That's the bottom line. That's what the club's all about. It's why we have the numbers on the wall at the stadium, at the training ground. It's what this club's done. To be a part of that, to be a part of history going forward, is what, for me, as a player, you want to be a part of. It's about winning.
Jack Butland there, and of course Kevin, he's had such a fantastic start to his time at Rangers. 34 games he's played this season. He's the only player to have played in every single competitive fixture, 16 clean sheets in that as well. And I thought it was really interesting there, just the insight that you had into him saying about he's here to win, and he's clearly got the right mentality to be at Rangers, and so far has shown that he has the talent as well in the park.
Yeah, he's not the typical Rangers goalie when you think of, you know, Andy Gorham and Alan McGregor, and sometimes these goalies seem a bit daft, and they almost need to be daft to play in that position, but he seems really articulate. He seems really well mannered. He seems, and that's not that they two weren't, of course. But I always think you need to be a wee bit daft to be a goalkeeper, and Jack seems to come across really, really well. I think the fact that he mentions winning quite regularly when he speaks to Rangers TV and he does the media, I think he gets it, which is important. And we spoke obviously off air about the concentration level. You need to be a Rangers goalie spending a lot of time, watching the game in front of you, and then you need to produce big saves. And so far, I'm not so sure he could have made a better start to his Rangers career.
James Tavernier, when you look at him and the fact that he's scored so many goals, and his numbers have obviously been very high with assists as well, despite all of that over the years, it doesn't really seem as though he's come close to the England squad. Is it different for Butland? Because you look at the situation just now with Aaron Ramsdale, for instance, at Arsenal, isn't really getting the game time that he got last season. There's not the wealth of goalkeepers there of that kind of standard that there maybe has been for England in the past. And Butland, who of course spent last season at Manchester United and has 9 caps for England. Is it impossible to think that he might come back into Gareth Southgate's thinking?
It's certainly not impossible. Certainly with the performances he's putting on, and he's playing at the moment in a successful team that's already got silverware. It's a massive platform. Yeah, listen, there's no doubt that the league, and he mentions it there when he was speaking, nothing's easy. Especially at a club like this, because your arch rivals are just as good and just as competitive, and you need to have that edge all the time. And it's not about expecting, it's about going to try and take it. So I think he'll have one eye. He seems a really confident person, and fingers crossed his performances that he's producing week in, week out, he can get an opportunity to get the recognition he deserves.
Okay, well, that's Jack Butland, another player who is looking to make the same kind of impact that he has over the next few months. Arrived at Rangers just a couple of weeks ago on loan from Wolves. Fabio Silva has also been talking to the Rangers media team.
I think it did start with in my family when I'm young. My father played football too, in Boa Vista in Portugal. My brother played football too, so in my house we speak always about football. My mom always tried to take a little bit outside the football when we are together, but no chance. We are speaking always about football. Yeah, but it was nice because my father and my brother are footballers. My father no, but it was nice.
Yeah, what are some of your earliest memories of starting playing and getting into the game?
Oh, I started in one team not my city, but one my grandfather is Nogueirense in team in Portugal, and after I go to Gondomar, and after I go to my team in Portugal, Porto. It was nice. I spent there most of my time when I'm young, so I enjoy a lot. When I go to the tournaments when I'm a kid, it was really nice. And yeah, my best memory is in Porto, of course.
Yeah, you say your team, did you grow up a Porto supporter?
Yeah, because my mom is a fan from Porto too. All my family are from Porto too, so since I'm a kid I go to the stadium with them. So when I'm there in the stadium, I always say to myself, I want to play here one day, and I want the fan sing for me one day here. And after everything happened, so I'm really proud from myself too.
Yeah, that must have been special for you to come through the academy there and then make your debut and do what you did in the first
Yeah, it was really special because I think I always say that the people who play on Porto, you have to play there to feel the environment and to feel the way do you love the club. And me, I play since I am a kid on Porto, so I feel the club a little bit different than the other ones. I see from young what is Porto, what is the ADN from Porto. So for me it was really special. And when I go to the stadium, when for example I see one of my idols there in Porto, Falcão, who played there, and the fans sing her name, I say to myself, one day they're gonna sing for me and I have to play here. And I have to be champion here. And after I play, I score there, I win the league, so it was something special for me.
What have these first few weeks been like for you? How have you found Glasgow? And the weather, you touched on there as well.
It was nice because here I play already in the Ibrox last game, so it was nice to feel a little bit the emotion and the warm welcome from their fans was nice. But now we have this week here in Spain to, for me, of course, I'm new, to see more the dynamics from the team, from the coach, what the coach wants for me, the relationship to build a relationship with the players. So it's nice. We can train, we can enjoy the weather, we can do some things together. So yeah, it's nice for when we come back, we have everything like together to go and take our goals. This week is nice because we have more time to training. We can learn more. We can build together the connection from the players, because it's important when on the training you have this relationship and you have these dynamics on the game. I think on myself, I think like this, after the things come natural. So for me this is the most important, and of course after the people you're gonna see on the games, the thing gonna go natural and they're gonna enjoy our football.
Fabio Silva there talking to Louise Shaw. A quick word on him, Kevin, just before we go into the teams. He obviously arrives with that £35 million price tag that he went to Wolves with from Porto. Clearly a weight of expectation on him, but you look at the numbers that he had, the goals that he scored in his previous loan spells at Anderlecht and PSV as well. You can see why Philippe Clement has decided to take the chance on bringing him in. He's quite young and still relatively unproven, I suppose, but clearly has something about him as well.
Yeah, I've obviously done the Kilmarnock game when he made his debut and come on for the last 15-20 minutes just last week, and you can see he's got swagger. He's got that typical continental touch, the technique, the nice balance. So fingers crossed he can be a good player. He comes with a big reputation. He's already represented big clubs, so he'll feel the weight, he'll feel the pressure. I like the way he speaks about the DNA of the club and the history of the club and the platform that he's been given the opportunity. So I don't think he looks like a one that runs in behind so much. I think he's one that can handle the ball and drop in areas. So it'll be interesting to see how him and Cantwell, because he's similar type, how they link up and what type of wavelength they kind of build together to see if they can build a good relationship that can obviously fruitfully be good for the team. Well,
it looks as though Fabio Silva will play through the middle for Rangers today. Let's take a look at the teams. Robbie McCrory starting in goals this afternoon for Rangers. A back four of James Tavernier, John Souttar, Leon Balogun and Ridvan Yilmaz, who is in Spain and does play today. John Lundstrom, Nico Raskin and Dujon Sterling make up the midfield, and you have Todd Cantwell and Rabbi Matondo either side of Silva. On the bench for Rangers today, a man we heard from a few moments ago, Jack Butland, Kieran Wright, Connor Goldson, Cyril Dessers, Jose Cifuentes, Scott Wright, Leon King, Ross McCausland, John Lee Yefeko, Robbie Fraser, Aaron Lyle, Bailey Rice and Cole McKinnon. Looking at team there, Kevin, Rangers have gone pretty strong to start with. You would expect that with the number of substitutes that are on the bench, we will probably see quite a few changes, maybe even a whole team changed at half time, but certainly a strong team to begin with anyway.
Yeah, and as you'd expect, I suppose, I'm pretty sure the manager will want to keep momentum. I mentioned a wee bit down tools. It's maybe the wrong thing. Listen, they're over there to work hard, but I certainly think they'll have an opportunity to switch off and recharge the batteries mentally. But I certainly think the manager's picked a team that he's expecting a big performance. He's expecting boys to continue to try and shine, to get in his plans to move forward. And probably the interesting thing for me, Andy, is that Cantwell, Matondo and Silva, who's going to play 9? Are they going to rotate? Matondo's obviously got blistering speed. Cantwell likes to come towards the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic as a 3 works.
Great to see Raskin playing as well. He came on against Kilmarnock, obviously out for a couple of months with injury, and good to see him back in, because he, as we saw particularly last season, I think he really adds something to that midfield when he's on his game.
Yeah, I think he's a real talent. I think his profile's great. He's the right age. I think he's got a bit about him. He's got a wee bit bite, which, listen, John Lundstrom brings that as well. But as an unknown one, without taking too much away from Raskin, Sterling, I think he's been dynamite since he's been given a role in midfield, and he's, I think, good food for thought for the manager that people like Raskin, who does come back with a big reputation, he's going to need to fight to get in the team, and that can only be good news for the manager.
Quickly, just going through the Hertha Berlin team, it won't surprise you to hear that with the relegation into the second tier of German football, not very many names there that Rangers fans will be conscious of. One who is there is John Joe Kenny, of course, spent time on loan at Celtic when Rangers won the league title in 2020-21. He's not involved this afternoon though, so otherwise the Hertha Berlin team, largely made up of players that Rangers fans will not know. Ernst in goal, and then it's Pekarik, Bukalakis, Karbownik, Prevlak, Kempf, Winkler, Tabakovic, Sherhant, Clemens and Gechter. So Rangers preparing to get underway against Hertha Berlin. Kick-off coming up in the next few minutes. Stick with us on Rangers TV. Stream live this afternoon on YouTube.
Welcome to Put It to Red! Incredible! Play top slots like Thunderstruck 2, Immortal Romance. Join and get a welcome bonus up to £150. Only at 32red.com.
British football has been shaped by Archibald Leach, the actual physical character and personality of its football stadiums.
You cannot understand British football in the 20th century without understanding his contribution.
Archibald Leach goes on to absolutely transform architecture, not just in Scotland, but a lot of the big grounds historically in England. If it's not the whole stadium, there's at least a stand there that has an Archibald Leach presence to it.
He has got a role in the history of almost every big club in the country. I don't know how many trophies have been paraded around in Archibald Leach stadiums over the course of the last 100 years. It must be almost beyond count.
I think it's always important for the fans to understand where the club came from and where Ibrox came from. And in that regard, you know, Archibald Leach is up there as one of the most important characters.
You cannot conceive of British football in the 20th century without the Scots. From the Queen's Park players who invented the passing game, Matt Busby, Dennis Law, Alex Ferguson, Scottish tradition goes right through that, and Archie was part of that. The British game was essentially an Anglo-Scottish game. If you think in terms of tactics, the Scots were incredibly important. In terms of management, incredibly important. So it's natural that the person who would be responsible for shaping the look of English football and Scottish football in the 20th century, it's not a surprise that he was a Scot. That's what the Scots did. They love football.
Welcome back to Rangers TV, live on YouTube this afternoon. I'm Andrew Dixon, joined by Kevin Thompson for commentary of Rangers friendly against Hertha Berlin. As you can see, the teams are out in La Manga. Rangers in their change white kit this afternoon. Hertha Berlin in all blue. We are just waiting for kick-off, couple of minutes away. A quick run through the Rangers team again. Robbie McCrory starts in goal this afternoon, and then it's Tavernier, Suter, Balogun and Ridvan. Lindstrom, Raskin and Sterling, then Cantwell, Matondo and Fabio Silva in attack. Rangers taking on a team which lost 3-0 in midweek to Mechelen. This, of course, the first of two mid-season friendlies that Rangers will play ahead of the resumption of the competitive campaign away to Dumbarton next weekend in the Scottish Cup. Kevin, just before we get going, this should be an interesting test this afternoon, and obviously the game against Copenhagen on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think it will be a test. I don't think it will be easy. I think the manager will expect the standards that he's coming in demanded for the get-go, really. And I'd imagine the players will be looking to try and impress to make sure that when the competitive ones do come round, you mentioned Dumbarton in the Cup, the first game to come back to, they want to be in that starting 11. So, listen, I wouldn't expect any feet off the gas. I would expect everybody trying to impress, and I'm pretty sure the Germans will be fit, they'll be strong, they'll be aggressive, so it'll be a good test.
Well, this is actually the third time the Rangers have played Hertha Berlin in a friendly. They're looking for their first victory. They lost twice in the 1970s. 3-0 in Germany in 1970, in December 1970, and then 3-2 at Ibrox in front of 41,000 in August 1975. Derek Parlane and Alec MacDonald getting the goals on that occasion. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, coming up against a team which is unbeaten in 9 competitive fixtures, but they have not played for the best part of a month. Hertha, as we get underway. Red Van with an early touch, of course. Speculation about his future, but he is on this trip and he is very much involved this afternoon as Rangers give away an early free kick.
Yeah, he's been one that's flourished, Andy, recently. He's been given an opportunity with Borna Barisic out the team. He's certainly one that's caught the eye in recent weeks.
Yeah, Barisic also on this trip, not involved in the matchday squad today, but he was part of a 31-player party which travelled out from Glasgow on Wednesday. Rangers in Spain until Monday before coming back for that game against Copenhagen on Tuesday night. Full ticket information for that one, incidentally, on rangers.co.uk. Rangers just taking a moment or two to feel their way into this game. As you would expect from a lot of these matches, perhaps not the same intensity that you'll get in competitive fixtures, as Balogun takes a touch inside before finding Lundstrom.
Yeah, certainly a wee bit different for playing in front of Ibrox and potentially giving the ball away and feeling the wrath of the fans, so I'm pretty sure the boys will enjoy it. Different experience. You can hear almost every shout, which is a bit unusual when you commentate. You can hear the boys almost shouting, so be interesting to see if there's any coaching points for the boys that we can pick up on.
How do these games differ from the likes of a pre-season fixture? Because obviously at that point you're building up fitness. It's only 11 days since Rangers last played a competitive game. The players had a few days off, but then back out to Spain on Wednesday. I mean, clearly they're not going to have lost very much sharpness at all.
Yeah, I think it'll just be a ticking over one, really. 45 minutes in the tank. We'll expect to see changes in the second half, but I'll just reiterate, Andy, really that the standard that the manager will be demanding. He'll expect a good performance. The fans will expect a good performance. Listen, you can't take the foot off the gas at this club. It's just the way it is. Pre-season friendly, mid-season friendly. We never had the winter break when I was playing, but I'm pretty sure all the boys will have worked hard this week, and obviously the games will just be a kind of top-up to make sure that they're ready to go when the competitive ones come back.
Rangers, of course, 20 games played in the Scottish Premiership, 15 wins. Currently 8 points off the top of the table, but with those 2 games in hand over Celtic. We played later this month against Hibs, and then also on Valentine's Day at home to Ross County. An opportunity certainly for Philippe Clement's side to edge closer and hopefully even move ahead in the title race in the foreseeable future. A small crowd at this game, made up mainly of locals from the La Manga area and surrounds. Of course, in the Murcia region of Spain, great conditions in which for Rangers to come and train in mid-season as Cantwell picks up 30 yards out, moves the ball out wide to Matondo, has Redvan in support, but Rangers have to settle for the throw. Redvan takes the throw and Cantwell just does enough to win the first corner of the game. 3 minutes gone, still 0-0, but Rangers with a chance to exert some pressure here. Well, it is Redvan who will take the corner. Did very well against Kilmarnock last week. Rightly, in my opinion, named man of the match. In comes the corner, cleared by Hertha out to Sterling on the edge of the box. Nodded out wide to Tavernier, who tries to go round the long way. Plays back instead to Sterling, himself a real revelation in recent weeks. And Hertha really struggling to get the ball out at the moment. Rangers with another throw as they look to make this early period of pressure count. Cantwell plays the 1-2 with Silva. Tavernier cuts in, crowded out, but Rangers still have possession. Tavernier tries to find Raskan, doesn't succeed, but Rangers with another corner, Kevin.
Yeah, all quite compact, and they just a wee bit, so many bodies. You could argue it's quite a good thing for Rangers because domestically that's what it can feel like at Ibrox, when teams come and park the bus and get lots of bodies behind the ball. But it'll be interesting to see, because the pitch, I thought the pitch looked really good, but you can see already just in front of Tav there taking the corner that it's cut up a wee bit. So it'll be interesting to see how the boys look after the ball, how they pass it, can they keep that tempo up on a difficult surface.
Tavernier with the corner on the right, and as Kevin was saying there, the pitch maybe not the best, and perhaps demonstrated by Tavernier's slip and the return ball from Tavernier gathered by Hertha's goalkeeper. Well, Hertha, as we said before, the game relegated from the Bundesliga last season. They finished bottom, currently 7th in the second tier, with a bit of work to do themselves if they are to get themselves into contention for promotion at the end of the season. 10 points off the leaders, Holstein Kiel, and even to get into the playoffs they're a few points behind Hamburg, who occupied the third place position that would get them into those fixtures. Rangers trying to come forward again. Cantwell on the edge of the box into Silva, claims for handball, the referee indicating that it came off his chest, and that's certainly how it looked from where we are as well. Lundstrom nods down and then has another go at the second attempt. Raskan now putting his foot on the ball. Balogun, and you can certainly see, as Kevin said a minute ago, the pitch cutting up a lot of parts of the pitch in the middle area. There's already some grass coming up.
Yeah, plenty of divots, like watching me play golf, Andy, to be honest. But lovely play for Cantwell, lovely wee cute pass, great run for Silva.
And it's Matondo as well now, great ball down to him. He's on the left, comes in, shoots, and that's saved by the Hertha goalkeeper. And in fact, it's a goal kick. Matondo looking to get on the end of that ball again, but Rangers getting the shot away, Kevin, and they've started this game far brighter clearly than Hertha.
Yeah, dominating the ball. It's always interesting to see how it would pan out, but getting all the ball really and getting opportunities to attack. We keep on mentioning obviously the difficult surface, but just something they need to deal with. They'll need to deal with that when they go to Dumbarton. So I don't think it's a bad exercise for the manager to be in difficult circumstances, and the boys at the moment seem to be handling it reasonably well. Cantwell starting to pick up the ball. Silva's been involved a wee bit. Don't think it was a penalty, and now Matondo. I just wish he would do that a wee bit more. Be a wee bit more direct, a wee bit more selfish, get his shots off, because he's certainly got the capabilities of drifting by people.
It's been quite frustrating for Matondo, obviously, since he came to Rangers, in and out, couple of injuries. Form has been there, then not there at other times as well, but I don't think there's any doubt, and a lot of Rangers fans watching will feel the same. I'm sure he can really be a big player for the club in the second half of the season.
He's got blistering pace, and it scares people that it makes defenders backtrack, it makes defenders not get as tight, so it creates a bit of animosity within backlines, and I just think he needs a run of games. He obviously needs something to drop for him. Ball in behind Tavernier at the moment.
Yeah, Hertha coming forward, cut back, but Leon Balogun is there to intercept. That may well be a corner. I think it is indeed.
Yeah, all too easy there. In behind James Tavernier. Dealt with in the end, I think, by John Suter coming across the front area, but just all too easy. But just touching on Matondo, Andy, I just think he's off the cuff type player, and I can sense the frustration at times when he maybe turns over the ball, but I certainly think there's a player in there. I think it was either the West Ham game or the Real Madrid game that I done for Rangers TV at the start of the season. He was blistering.
Yeah.
So there is a player in there. It's just trying to get that consistency.
Well, the corner comes in, not a great delivery. Rangers do clear, but only out to the edge of the box where Karbautnik is there to collect for Hertha. And then Silva puts the ball out for another Hertha throw. Lovely surroundings in Spain for Rangers to work for a few days ahead of that game against Copenhagen, of course, into the last 16 of the Champions League on Tuesday night. So again, a step up in opponent probably from what they are facing this afternoon, as Robbie McCrory takes possession. Good for him to get a run out this afternoon, Kevin. Of course, Jack Butland, the only man between the six for Rangers this season, understandably so when you see the form that he's been in. But Robbie McCrory, he's into his mid-20s now and very keen to get game time. And even if it is just a friendly, it's an opportunity to show the manager what he can do.
Yeah, 100%. And I know personally he was frustrated, obviously, when he's had his opportunity and not managed to stick it out really as the number one. But listen, it's difficult to play here, it's difficult to get into the team, and to be fair to Jack, sometimes I think you need to be humbled. It doesn't mean that Robbie won't want to play, he won't believe in himself, but when Jack's come in and done so well, it makes it difficult for the manager to mix things up and give him the opportunities that he probably craves.
Yeah, only 7 competitive appearances for Robbie McCrory at Rangers, now 25. He has actually kept clean sheets in 6 of those games as well, so a good record when he has played, but certainly looking for more game time, but difficult to dislodge Butland when he's in the form he has been in. The wind just getting up in La Manga, as you can hear, so as much as it is sunny, that will just add to the challenge ever so slightly. Rangers with the throw, Tavernier on the far side. Perhaps slightly ambitious there, but Hertha not doing the best job they could have done at clearing the ball there, although they do emerge with possession once again, but the move breaks down once more. And Rangers in the first 10 minutes, Kevin, probably on top. Of course, Hertha did have that break a couple of moments ago and an opportunity as well, but I think probably what you've seen from Rangers at times is in a lot of games this season, it's taken a long time for them to break teams down. More recently, you've seen them scoring quite early, and that's the kind of thing that Philippe Clement will be looking for from his team. Yeah,
I think there has to be an element of patience when you have all the ball, but I certainly think to disrupt teams and put them under real pressure, you need to play forward quickly, and your front players then need to look after the ball, they need to play off the cuff, they need to be clever and intricate to try and create the chances against packed defences. But you just see the ball for Raskin there, that's the type of passes. One pass, before you know it, you're in the opposition box and it comes to a corner.
And it comes once again from Tavernier. Decent delivery, headed away once more though. Cantwell tries to take control, miscontrols, and now Hertha with the chance to break. 3-on-2. Just coming into the box now. The shot intercepted by Ridvan. Again, you can see, I think that's John Lundstrom's just gone down on the edge of the box there. The surface clearly causing problems for one or two players. Lundstrom does seem to be okay, but again, perhaps an example of that awkward surface that they've got to play on, Kevin.
Yeah, and another breakaway for Hertha. You know, they're almost playing in the counter. It seems difficult to play that ball. You can just see it there getting passed across the back. It is bobbling in a wee bit, but you know, it's certainly not been a problem for Raskin. I think when he's dropped on it, he's played a couple of the passes, just fizzy passes forward. So it's just concentration levels really in dealing with the conditions. I certainly don't think they should use any excuses for it.
Raskin plays forward there, and it's Silva who goes down, holding his head. Certainly a high boot on him.
No mucking about for the referee there anyway, straight out with the yellow card.
Yeah, 11 minutes gone in a mid-season friendly. Doesn't matter, out comes the book for the Hertha captain, Kempf.
Not so sure how long I'd last on the pitch with that ref. He was straight. It was almost in his hand before the foul, and rightly so, I suppose. But
here we go. It's Ridvan and Tavernier standing over the ball. Looks as though it'll be Tavernier that will hit it. Indeed, it is. But he plays short, looking for Matondo. Perhaps not the best delivery from the captain. Hertha. Well, Matondo actually wins that one back. Is that going to go for a corner? Not the goalkeeper. Just gathers and no more. And Hertha can come away with possession. Down the right hand side, floodlights on. Doesn't feel as though there's much need for that yet, but that wind certainly sounds as though it's going to be a challenge as the game progresses. Ball lifted in and it's not dealt with. McCrory comes and does enough to get in the way, but Rangers a little slack in defence there, Kevin.
Yeah, I just think that edge in defending really, Andy, they just, dropped in behind Tavernier, the mistake for Cantwell, the counter-attack on the corner. The next one, striker just gets wrong-sided. John Suter, Robbie McCrory are really alert to deal with the danger, but I can hear the manager shouting for James Tavernier to tuck in when the ball's on this side and then down the side. So it's amazing that like a lot of these coaches nowadays, they have that for the people watching in the house, you narrow and compact and playing down the sides and dealing with the ball when it comes inside, but not allowing teams to play through you. And I've never worked with the manager, but you can see Ridvan's position there. He's not the one that's going and pressing the ball. He's tucked in inside. James Tavernier tucked in now, almost allowing that one. But interesting to see how it develops, if there's any problems that come off the back of that.
Nice switch play there from Bukalakis. Rangers do clear, but Hertha pick up once again, 35 yards out now. Looking to make amends for that midweek defeat they had against the Belgians of Mechelen. Gechter with the ball in defence. Out now to Pekarik.
So you can see how it rotates there, Andy. Ridvan then going to the ball and Matondo tracking the runner. So be interesting to see. Just intrigued, really, I suppose, as a young coach and someone that loves watching football. Cantwell jumps up a line. There's there will be certain principles that the manager will demand, and I got a good insight into Stephen and Mick Beale, so it's intriguing to just see wee subtle changes within the team and how they set up, how they press, and what they look like in possession and out of possession.
How impressed have you been by the transformation, if you like? I don't know if that's too strong a word, in Rangers since Clement came in. Obviously, just that one defeat. Otherwise, the results have been excellent, and some performances have been really good as well. Obviously, 2 or 3 standout wins against the likes of Betis away, the League Cup final win against Aberdeen. It seems as though the team really has momentum, and perhaps that's reflected by the fact that there were only a few days off after the Kilmarnock game, and then it was straight back into training again. He clearly wants to keep things going.
Yeah, I just think he's relatable, and he really. When I listen to him talk, and I will listen to a lot of his post-match interviews, pre-match interviews, because I'm always intrigued, like win, lose or draw, good performance, bad performance, how they speak to the media, how they present themselves. And I think the biggest thing is he's relatable. I think the fans understand him, and that's not that they didn't understand Mick Beale or other managers, but I just think there's a unique way of presenting yourself when you represent this club that people can relate to, and I think he's got that buy-in off the fans, and I think you need that if you want to have time here, because listen, they're a hard crowd to please. It's a difficult place to be successful, but I think the one thing I would say is that word is relatable, and I think he's so far so good.
Yeah, played 18, won 14, drawn 3, and just the one reverse so far. Rangers' 19th permanent manager, the 5th one now from outside the UK after Dick Advocat, Paul Le Guen, Pedro Caixinha and Giovanni van Bronckhorst. And certainly a strong start, 1 trophy in the cabinet already. Could there be more on the way in the next few months? Let's wait and see. Still 0-0, 16 minutes gone in La Manga between Hertha Berlin and Rangers. Rangers probably slightly on top. Hertha have come back into it a little bit. Looked like there was a foul there on Raskan, but play allowed to continue by the referee. Played inside, Lundstrom with the shot, and that's a crucial touch there to take that one over for a corner. That looked all the way to be going into the top corner, Kevin.
Yeah, and you see the difference in the passes, Andy. Slapped in for Raskin, then slapped in for John Lundstrom, cut back for Matondo, good connection for John Lundstrom. I don't know if the defender just evades it for going in that far top corner, but it's amazing when the ball gets passed at the right speed, how much confusion you cause in the Hertha defence, and then the opportunities come, the good players start to land on the ball, and then you get great A-B chances.
Yeah, we are receiving pictures from a third party, so limited cameras, so we couldn't see for sure if that was going in the top corner, but it certainly seemed to be. And that one goes out for another corner as well. It certainly seemed to be going top corner, the Lindstrom effort, but a good interception, and Rangers certainly piling on the pressure. Looked a sore one there for the defender intercepting, but Rangers clearly knocking on the door, and Redvan will deliver once again. Here he comes. Played deep to the back post. Again cleared. Lundstrom looks for it. Sterling's in there as well. Hertha come away with the ball though. Here's Cantwell. Rangers winning possession back. Not got much support around him. And that's about probably as good a result as he could have hoped for there. Redvan will take the throw. Slightly ambitious from Redvan there, looking for Lundstrom, and not a great surprise to see Hertha emerging with the ball now. They come forward, 30 yards out on the left hand side. Tavernier standing up well there. It looked as though the player might just have got ahead of him, but he stood up well and conceding the corner.
Yeah, he just shifts his feet well, James Tavernier, to block that cross. I always think John Souttar does it really well. Always protects that front area when balls do come across. I just think how many times he clears it in that area when it does get past James Tavernier. He must be a good one to play for Tav, knowing that when he does get caught potentially out of position, John Souttar's always there mopping it up at that front post.
Clemens with the corner for Hertha, and it comes deep towards the back post, in fact so deep that it goes straight out for a goal kick. John Souttar, you touched on him there. It seems as though Connor Goldson clearly is the established figure in that central defence. At the moment it looks as though it's Leon Balogun who's the preferred partner for him, but certainly Souttar and Ben Davies as well both have had opportunities at various points this season. I'm personally quite a big fan of Souttar. He's perhaps been a little bit unfortunate in that when he has made mistakes, Rangers have been punished for them. If he can iron that kind of thing out, he could really be a big player for Rangers in the months ahead. Yeah, there's no doubt that Connor Golson's the number one, and it's fight out to see who can play alongside him, and they've both got different qualities. To be fair, you could argue John's maybe
better at stepping out than what Balogun is, and playing that pass into midfield. And then you could argue Balogun's recovery speed, playing high up on the halfway line again domestically and having to go 1v1, and that recovery speed to get back in behind is maybe more of a strength of Liam Balogun than it is John Souttar. So certainly food for thought for the manager, and I would argue that Balogun's speed does complement Connor Goldson, but then at the same time I think John Souttar, as you alluded to, is a really good player.
Approaching the midway point in this first half, not many opportunities so far, and that's reflected by the scoreline, still 0-0. Rangers trying to get things going through Raskin, who comes over the halfway line with the ball, looking very comfortable in his first start since returning from injury. He was out for a couple of months, coming on as a substitute against Kilmarnock last time out. Here's Balogun. Lundstrom now, the ball bobbling once again, as you can see.
It's an intriguing one to see where Sterling's playing, and he's kind of jumping up a line, and we're used to seeing him putting out fires, and he's done it really well, and probably not been as involved as he would like to so far.
Tavernier with the cross into the box, looking for Silva, just too far for him to get any real connection on it, but recovers well to win the throw. He takes it himself rather than leaves it for Ridvan. 1-2 of sorts with Lundstrom, but then succeeds only in giving away the foul. How crucial is it, even in a game like this, for Silva to be getting his first goal for the club? Because you know what it's like when you come into a new team and you play 4, 5, 6 games, and especially in his position where he's only here till the end of the season. It's important for him probably to hit the ground running as much as he can.
Yeah, listen, when you're a front player, you're always judged on your goals, really, and you see all the number 9s and attacking players. That's what fans expect, it's what they demand, and I've got no doubt that they'll give him time and there'll be patience there, but they'll want to see him hit the net. He'll want to hit the net, he'll want to make sure that he's in the team, he's performing, and listen, I'm not so sure it's the right way to present that he'll be using the club as a platform, but fingers crossed it's a win-win for both parties, and there's no doubt that he's got talent, the boy. Just let's hope we can see it in abundance, and he can get that ball in the back of the net to get himself up and running, really.
Cantwell picks up from Ridvan. Souttar now, and that, well, no foul given there actually. I thought that one was good to be given Rangers' way, but unfortunately not. Nevertheless, they take possession again. Lundstrom tries to find Silva, doesn't quite come off for him though, and Hertha do pretty well as they bring the ball out of defence and cross into the Rangers half now, but their own attack breaks down. It's all just a little bit disjointed at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's scrappy, but you can see that there's no doubt that bobbled up there, and the conditions are difficult. You can see the pitch, there's more divots coming, every minute, with the players obviously feet tackling, changing direction. So a challenge, but at the moment probably a bit low key without any real exciting moments in the game, but certainly worthwhile. There'll be miles in the legs, and the manager will be constantly thinking about who's impressing, who's not, what he can do, what he can't do.
That's a great switch from Lundstrom on to Ridvan. Did his best to get a slightly alternative way around his man, didn't quite come off. Hertha can come away with the ball once more.
Yeah, really, and sometimes it can get away from the game plan, Andy, when you think, like, we're sitting watching the game, the manager will have certain principles, he'll want certain things, he'll want the players to play in a certain way, but you just think he's Sterling just touching on him there. He's obviously the one that's maybe been given the licence to go and jump forward a line and leave Raskin and John Lundstrom behind the ball, but you could almost argue like an extra attacking player, the way the game's developing, it just causes a wee bit more confusion for them, and they're quite safe really, with Hertha not gambling too many bodies beyond the ball, so that extra attacking threat might be something that the manager might change to in the second half.
Here's Matondo, goes himself, has a shot from distance, low, and the keeper gets down well, released by John Lundstrom, and that's a bit more direct from Rangers and probably a bit more of what Philippe Clement's looking for.
Yeah, just a turnover really quickly. We spoke about when Raskin plays forward, whoever plays forward from midfield into the front boys, when it's done quickly, it just gives the opposition less time to get set, less time to get men behind the ball, and just quick snapshot from Matondo there. He's had a couple now, he's cut inside, he's had one, he's then received that one, a wee bit more central, so starting to grow into the game a wee bit.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, this is the first of 2 mid-season friendlies for Rangers. The second of them coming on Tuesday night at Ibrox against Copenhagen. Of course, Rangers have played them in the past in the Champions League qualifiers. Big game for Rangers in that respect. A good challenge ahead of the Scottish Cup trip to Dumbarton next weekend. Tickets £15 for adults, £10 for concessions, £5 for children, and just £1 for junior MyGers members. And if you need any further incentive, 5 MyGers points per ticket as well. They can be purchased on the club website at rangers.co.uk. Hertha just taking their time in defence. No great rush to get things going. You are finding that Hertha's attacks are breaking down more often than not. And they didn't deal with that one particularly well either. Throw for Rangers, which Sterling looks as though he will take it. Short to Tavernier. Sterling, as Kevin mentioned, playing a bit more advanced than perhaps we've been used to seeing in recent weeks. Good play there from Hertha to bring the ball out of defence. An equally good slide though from John Souttar just to stop that one bearing any fruit.
Yeah, I think he made himself a wee bit of a talisman, really, Andy. You know, playing behind the ball, that kind of defensive, disruptive. You know, he's obviously got the natural the defensive instinct in him. I just think when the ball turns over, he's been so great at getting to the ball so quickly to win it back for the team. That counter press that the manager will be, you know, wanting off his team, especially at home at Ibrox. You know, when you have a lot of the ball, you give it away. Can you get it back quickly? Can you suffocate opposition? And he's done that great. But you know, probably a wee bit more advanced. So another challenge for him. Another bit food for thought for the manager. Does it work? Does it not work? You know, learning all the time, I suppose, about the players and their capabilities and what they can do for the team.
Sterling, for me, reminds me a little bit of one of your old teammates, Maurice Edu, perhaps slightly stronger in the tackle, but otherwise a real athlete in much the same way as Maurice was as well. With those attributes, you know, if you utilise them in the right way, that can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I suppose you just bundle the energy, and listen, the game looks totally different when you're in front of the ball rather than playing behind the ball. You know, your Cantwells like to play in the areas where they receive it and tight areas, and you know, I was probably one of the players that like to pass it in there rather than receive it in there. I would say Sterling's a wee bit the same. Probably likes to back the game up rather than playing in front of the ball. So I'm just interested to obviously see the manager's food for thought. You can see him high up in the right there, jumping up a line, leaving Raskin and John Lundstrom behind him. Maybe thinking we Sima away as another dynamic that could help us run in the box. Could he get goals? It looks like he could do anything really. So it'll be interesting to see what the manager's thoughts are on.
Yeah, well, until a few weeks ago, he was a player that we'd mainly seen in the kind of right-back area, but obviously opportunities limited there with the form and status, I suppose, that James Tavernier has in the squad as well as captain. But Sterling in recent weeks has been really quite something in that defensive midfield role. Tavernier with the throw now. Silva outside of the boot finds Cantwell. He's got Ridvan in support, who takes possession now. Rangers moving the ball from right to left. Matondo. Again, maybe not the same urgency that you would see in a competitive fixture, but Rangers feeling their way around this pitch. Souttar. Leon Balogun in his second spell at the club. Cantwell now. Little nudge in the back there from Matondo, who decides himself it's a foul. The referee hadn't actually given it yet, but free kick taken quickly. Ridvan looks to centre quickly as well, perhaps a little too rushed though, and Hertha mop up the scraps.
Probably a good word, scraps, and all too scrappy at times. Difficult conditions, no doubt, but probably stop-start. Not too much quality on show at the moment. Probably difficult for both teams to play that extra pass to try and do the wee intricate bits in the final third. Probably been the telling of the first 30 minutes so far.
Yep, almost a third of the way through this fixture, still goalless. Hertha trying to change that. Under pressure from Ridvan, who stands up well and finds Cantwell. At the club for a year now, Cantwell. 3 goals this season, 6 in the second half of last campaign, so be keen to get more in the next few months. Hertha switch out to the left-hand side, but the flag goes up, and the search for a first goal in this game still very much on.
Yeah, all come for Ridvan giving the ball away. This one passing into midfield. I think he does that really well when he steps into that area as well, almost like the false fullback going inside the pitch. And probably Borna Barisic, you think, probably likes to play out the pitch a wee bit more than what Ridvan does, but just a loose one there.
You were at the Kilmarnock game. Your thoughts on Ridvan in that match as well? I thought personally he did very well and got forward well, played the right passes, and quite often as well he plays a different sort of pass that people perhaps don't expect at times as well. He can be a real asset.
Yeah, I thought he defended really well. I gave him man of the match that day, which normally mean the sponsors have got different opinion, but I think he got the sponsors man of the match that day as well. So I just think he looked sharp, he looked bright, he was on the front foot, he defended really well. Kilmarnock were Joe Wright, that was the tactic under Derek McInnes to kind of knock it down that left-hand channel. Rangers left, obviously Kilmarnock's right, and kind of flick it on and try and come under the ball and try and get up the pitch, if you know what I mean. So you could argue his height was trying to get exposed, but I think he dealt with it really well. Yeah, a few flick-ons, no doubt, but I think overall the general consensus, Andy, for me as the fans when I listen to him is that as he got the final third bit that Borna Barisic brings with that quality, his left peg, and I think his balls into the box. I think he had an assist that day against for Todd Cantwell, the one that gets cut across the box. So if he can add that to his game and become more consistent in it, then he's certainly starting to win people over for sure.
Well, Rangers in European competition have never played teams more from a country than against teams from Germany. If you include East Germany, it's 58 times they've played matches against sides from that country, double the next highest total, which is 29 for clubs from the Netherlands. Rangers coming forward once again through Tavernier, the layoff for Matondo, and well, that deflection could have taken it anywhere, but in fact it just takes the sting out of the shot, and Hertha tried to come forward, but it's kept in. Well, it's not actually. The whistle goes by Balogun.
Yeah, it's a brilliant pass to start with for Todd Cantwell. We bit the skies on it, reversed into James Tavernier. We know he likes that position, almost like a number 10 as a fullback. When the Rangers do get control and they're poking and prodding, he likes to go into that area. I actually thought he was going to pull the trigger on his left peg, but just a wee layoff to Matondo, and he just didn't quite get a hold of it.
Yeah, James Tavernier looking to hit 20 goals in a club campaign for the first time in his career. He's come close to it 2 or 3 times actually in his time at Rangers. On 16 at the moment, so not far away already. Hertha work the ball into the penalty area. Some neat passing. That's an intelligent ball actually in the end. It maybe didn't look at from the angle that we had, but it comes to nothing thankfully for Rangers. Cantwell tries to release Silva, who's got work to do, but he does well. Good upper body strength there against his opponent, but then frustrated at losing possession, felt he should have had a free kick and demonstrated his frustration there as well, but not given.
Yeah, I actually thought he fouled the defender. I thought the defender got there first. He just come on the back and just, as you mentioned, not quite strong enough just to stay on his feet, but probably a good one from Matondo there with the blistering speed that he's got. You can see already Silva, he wants to come to the ball, he's willing to run the channels, but I'm not sure he's got that explosive speed that will get away from people, so he probably wants opportunities to interlink with Cantwell's, the wee clever passes, the wee 1-2s, can he swivel away from people in tight areas.
Yeah, Rangers looking to add some more goals. Plenty of them, but not quite as many as perhaps the manager would have wanted at times. Silva's stats are reasonable from his loan spells. Only 1 goal this season in the first half of the season at Wolves, and that was in the Carabao Cup in a 5-0 win against Blackpool in August. Of course, his game time hasn't been extensive at Molineux, but nevertheless looking to build and replicate some of the form that he showed at Anderlecht and PSV previously. Hertha enjoying a bit more possession in the last few minutes. Into the quarter-finals of the German Cup in that run of 9 games unbeaten that I mentioned earlier. And they'll play Kaiserslautern, another second-tier team, another former European opponent of Rangers in the past as well, as they look to keep going in that competition. Hertha trying to find a way to work the ball into the box. Rangers, by and large, have had their areas pretty well covered. Here's Bukalakis, lifts another ball into the box. His passing has been pretty decent so far, but the end product there, perhaps not what it should have been.
Yeah, he's probably been the one that's played that extra pass, that wee bit of quality for Hertha. Just unfortunate with that one, just a wee bit overhit. But certainly one that's looked to play. He's looked for that bigger switch. Him behind James Tavernier a few times now. It's probably been their game plan to get down the size of Rangers, try to get behind. They've probably not utilised it enough.
Tapakovic with the header well off target, but Hertha coming forward again, trying to work their way into the box. Rangers crowding them out, and the whistle goes. Good save there from McCrory after the whistle went. And I suppose, well, play had stopped. Good to see that alertness from the goalkeeper.
Yeah, alert Robbie for sure. A good save down to his right hand side. Just, well, not so much down, probably mid drift to slightly above. But as you mentioned before when we were speaking about Jack Butland, the Rangers '1, you know, spend a lot of time watching the game, and that concentration level needs to be high. And when they big moments come, you need to make sure that you keep the ball at the back of the net. And you know, so far the reaction, the one that I think it was John Suter got caught in behind, he was out on off his line really quickly, and then that snapshot one as well.
Hertha can't clear, and Cantwell lifts into the box, but the end product isn't great. Is there a bit of sympathy for McCrory, given that he's had the likes of, obviously got Butland ahead of him just now, he's had Alan McGregor in the past as well. Clearly a very good goalkeeper in his own right, and that's been demonstrated on the occasions that he has played competitively, but at the same time those appearances are so few and far between because of the guys he's been up against.
Yeah, you feel for him, you know, a great lad. I never got loads of opportunities to work with Robbie or Ross actually, but I had them on my pitch and, you know, spent a wee bit of time in the academy with them and chatting to them, you know, in the gym and just building up relationships really. And yeah, you do feel for them because you want everybody to do well and you want everybody to play, but the harsh reality is it's a tough school to play for Rangers, and I don't think he can have too many arguments for what's been in front of him at the moment. But that doesn't mean that he's not a good goalie in his own right, and he'll feel like he deserves to play, he'll want to play, and that's the attitude that he needs to continue to have.
Here's Raskin inside to Sterling. Rangers going the long way around to try to fashion an opportunity, but again Hertha just get a foot in and look to pour forward themselves. Rangers with plenty of bodies back, just the two up front for Hertha at the moment, but they still managed to get the shot away once more, though the interception just slowing that one down. McCrory rolls out to Balogun, himself with plenty of German football experience, a number of clubs previously for him in Germany. Fortuna Dusseldorf, Werder Bremen, Hanover, Mainz, all among his former employers. Cantwell, that's surely a foul. The referee says no, shakes his head. Again, it's Silva who goes down. No big complaint from the Portuguese forward this time, it has to be said. Bukalakis. Hertha pretty comfortable on the ball when they've got it, which on a fairly tricky surface says something about them as well. Winkler playing back now to Gechter. Ernst, the goalkeeper, not really tested that Lundstrom shot that was deflected for a corner. May well have found its way past the goalkeeper from Hertha, but otherwise hasn't been massively busy. Heading towards half-time, what do you think Philippe Clement's thoughts will be as he goes into the break, Kevin?
I don't think he'll get too hung up on it, to be honest. I think he won't be too precious about it. He'll want everybody to be unscathed. Listen, I would expect him as a manager to know that the players probably won't fly into tackles, and you know, that cutting edge that you all have in the competitive bit. Listen, players will look after themselves. It's just the way it is. Nobody wants to get injured doing these type of games, but at the same time you have to have the right attitude and the right mentality to do it right. I think the players are doing that. I think it's difficult circumstances, but I don't think he'll be too precious. I think he'll want everybody unscathed. He'll want miles in the legs. Yeah, he'll probably want a wee bit more quality in the final third, and maybe the goalkeeper tested a wee bit more, but I think on and all he'll be I think he's filtered a wee bit with his shape. I think the two set midfielders, the three in front, and then the striker, almost like a 2-3-1. Testing different things. James Tavernier always playing outside the ball. Ridvan sometimes coming inside. So I think there'll be wee subtle things that he'll be working on to see if he likes it, if he doesn't like it. And I suppose these exercises are all the type of things that you would want as an outcome.
Well, 13 players on the bench. You can just see them in the background there behind the Hertha dugout and beyond the hedge, just warming up ahead of that second half. So that would suggest that there's quite a few bodies about to come on for the second period. Gechter once again. Hertha fairly comfortable in possession at the back, not always penetrating beyond that, but Rangers allowing them with plenty of space to knock the ball around in defence. Areas where they can't really hurt Rangers, of course. Ridvan forward to Raskin. Sterling now. Matondo available to him. Almost shaped to go one way, but decides to stay where he is and play back across to Suter. Lundstrom. Cantwell, nice touch there from Matondo onto Ridvan. Edge of the box, chance to shoot perhaps, indeed. He does take the opportunity. Maybe snatched at it a little bit though and easily gathered.
Yeah, on his weaker side, but better play in difficult conditions, a wee bit slicker passing. I thought he was going to reverse it into Silva, just made that nice wee dart and run on the blind side of the defender, but fair play to him, pulling the trigger with his right foot, and as you mentioned, doesn't quite get a hold of it. An easy one really for the goalkeeper in the end, but better play, moving the ball a wee bit sharper, a wee bit quicker.
A reminder just of the players that Rangers have on the bench. 13 of them, as I mentioned earlier. Jack Butland and Kieran Wright, the two reserve goalkeepers. And then Goldson, Dessers, Cifuentes, Wright, King, McCausland, Ufeko, Fraser, Lyle, Rice and McKinnon. 31-man party over here in Spain. But of course the likes of Borna Barisic, Tom Lawrence among those, Ryan Jack as well, who have been out of the side lately for various reasons. Obviously travelled to work with the team, but not able to come into the squad for today. Just under 3 minutes to go until half time. You would imagine there won't be much, if any, stoppage time. The sun does start to set a little in La Manga, but very pleasant temperatures indeed, late teens. Ideal climate for Rangers to be working in this afternoon. You'd expect it will be a little cooler than that on Tuesday night when they play Copenhagen at Ibrox. Busy run of fixtures for Rangers to come straight back into. The winter break doesn't really feel like that much of a break, to be honest. Hertha fairly comfortable again, composed as well in defence. And I guess if you're looking at it, that's just that's one of the things that Philippe Clement will be looking for more of, is just to exert a bit more pressure, because Rangers have allowed them quite a lot of time. In fact, we'll come to you in a minute, Kevin. Hertha just coming forward, ball into the box, and Balogun intercepts. No pass back there, obviously, as such, in terms of it wasn't deliberate. And now they can break through Raskin. Sterling on the right hand side. Good tackle there, no foul, and in fact there is a foul, but it's gone Hertha's way. Yeah, what I was saying there about Clement, I guess one thing that he will be maybe slightly frustrated with is just the fact that Rangers have maybe sat off a bit and allowed Hertha a lot of the ball, and obviously it has been at the back and it's not been in an area that they're going to cause any damage, but at the same time that urgency and that pressing, which we've seen so much of from Rangers under Clement, that hasn't always been there this afternoon.
Thought there was going to be a goal there.
Yeah,
just in behind. No, I agree, Andy. I just think that to start with, I think the energy was there. I think it then forced Hertha into more mistakes and turned the ball over, and that extra pass actually made them look quite limited, trying to build up for the back, and they kept on turning over, on difficult conditions, but probably as Rangers have dropped off, they've had a wee bit more control, and it's probably allowed them to show a wee bit more composure. So I'd imagine the manager will want the front boys and backed up by the midfield boys to get after the ball a wee bit more in the second half.
Well, it's Winkler who will take the corner, and as Hertha have come into this game more, they would love to go into half-time with a goal as well. It's a great corner, and it is a goal. It's headed in, lovely finish across the face of goal. I think it's from Kempf, the captain. Indeed it is, the only man with a booking early in the game, but that's a good flashing header from him. Disappointing for Rangers, but 1-0 to Hertha Berlin, and as the game has gone on, they've grown more and more into this match. They'll feel that they deserve that lead going into half-time.
Yeah, all too easy really. Brilliant delivery, I'll have to say, for the right hand side, left-footed, in-swinger, but just gets across the front really, glancing header, uses the speed on the ball and easily goes by McCrory really. So I'm not so sure deserved. It probably flatters to deceive a wee bit 0-0, but certainly a wake up call for the players, because listen, pre-season or not pre-season, Andy, you need to be winning games. That's just the way it is. It's a mentality thing, a desire thing. So certainly the boys will be disappointed to concede so late on in the first half.
Yeah, Hertha undoubtedly have got a little bit stronger as the half has gone on. Rangers began very brightly, but it is Hertha who lead as we do move into stoppage time. Almost a minute of it played. Kempf, the goal scorer, the Hertha captain. Not sure there's going to be much time for Rangers to try to get themselves back in level terms before the whistle goes. First touch there from Ernst was certainly heavy, but he gets away with it, and Rangers trail at the break. The goal from Kempf just a minute or so ago. Header from the corner. It gives Hertha a lead of 1-0 at half-time. Kevin, very briefly, what needs to change in the second half? Clearly we're going to see some players come in, a bit more urgency from Rangers going forward. Yeah, I think that's the nail on the head really. I think it's difficult. I totally understand that, difficult conditions, but yeah, a wee bit more impetus in the final third, a wee bit more quality, more shots on goal, a wee bit more sustained pressure, which comes for energy really, a wee bit idea and a wee bit nous really in the final third. So I'm pretty sure the boys that come on in the second half, if the manager does make changes, he'll be demanding that, a wee bit more foot in the throttle really in the second half. Well, stick with us. The second half is coming up in about 15 minutes time. We're going to take a short break, but please do stay with us on Rangers TV, and we will speak to you again shortly.
I remember reading that Rangers have signed Rod Wallace on teletext, and a free transfer on this summer where we're spending millions and millions. Surely there's some mistake here, and it did feel low key. Now, Rod Wallace had played against Rangers for Leeds back in '92, and had been a good pro in England, and that's pretty much all that registered at the time. That okay, maybe back up then. That maybe makes a wee bit of sense. It can't all be £3 and £4 million signings. I felt he would be a squad player. The Rangers have spent all this money on a left back. They've spent all this money on a young central midfielder from Holland. They've spent it on Kanchelskis outright. We've spent it in Amato as a kind of number 10. I imagine he'll want a new number 9 that will spend a similar amount of money on. That's just how things felt that summer. So a clever, sensible reserve was how I expected it to go, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't alone.
I still remember him from a time when I was playing for PSV Eindhoven, and we played for the Europa League then against the Leeds United when he was playing there. And then I think maybe that's also the reason why Dick Advocaat still remembers him from the time when we played against Leeds, and that was probably the reason why he signed Rodney. But he was fantastic, unbelievable, you know. He was also very fast. He was actually always looking around at what was happening, and then you could actually pass the ball to him. And yeah, inside the box he was very dangerous. And if you see how many important goals he scored for us, unbelievable.
He absolutely became the main actual poacher goal scorer type. He was brilliant with Leeds United. I remember with Leeds United scoring goals, but once I came into the team, arrived at Rangers, you could see that Gabby was very different. Gabby was almost like a maverick, off the cuff type, so talented, skillful, and scored great goals with Mikey Malls and stuff like that. But Rod Wallace was just an absolute goal poacher. Those little half chances he would bury.
Jonas turns cross. Jury down for Van Bronckhorst. Rod Wallace with a great chance. And Rangers are back in the game. And Rod Wallace makes an immediate impact in Scottish football. Newman looking for the ball over the top. Gets it. It's perfect. In for Rod Wallace. 1-0. What a lovely move down the left-hand side. And an ice-cool finish from Wallace. His third goal for Rangers.
This is Rangers, and we do venerate work rate sometimes more than finding a pass at times. But Wallace was industrious. He was intelligent, and he was just clearly a handful, a lot more than we perhaps expected him to be. And again, that expectation is so often set by the fee. If you come in here for £5 million, or indeed £12 million a couple of years later, those expectations are huge. So he maybe had a free swing at that, and he enjoyed a wee bit later in his career an opportunity that maybe he thought had passed him by, the chance to win things, the chance to play in Europe and the Champions League and whatever else. So I think it was quite obvious that he took that on. He grabbed that. A lot of characteristics about Rod Wallace, big goals. And goals in big games, nothing endears you to a Rangers support quite like that. It's a great combination.
This is Amato. Oh, Amato! Sensational skills, and still he goes! And Wallace! And Rangers are in front! Rod Wallace, the scorer! But he owes it to the persistence.
Rod Wallace makes my top 11 every day of the week. And I've played with some really brilliant strikers that didn't make it in. And it's purely down to the fact that he just knew where to be in the box. Sometimes when people say, oh, you picked him out with a great cross, but it wasn't about picking out. Sometimes if you're running at full pace, it's very difficult to pick someone out. Generally the area is better to pick because you've got a bigger margin for error. But that area generally would always be found with wee Rod.
Alberts for Neil McCann. Neat little touch, inside then outside. That's for Rod Wallace! Would you believe it? It's another goal. It's 4-2 now. This was magical play from McCann, and Rod Wallace did well to squeeze the header in.
They were brilliant because they were on the same wavelength. Now, whether that was natural, I'm sure a bit of it was. But going back again just to where Rangers were at that time, this is early Advocaat, where there's no hubris, there's no complacency. Everything is measured, everything is worked on. So I imagine it's a bit of both, of just that natural chemistry, but repetition and repetition and repetition. Each of them knew where the other would be. So I can well appreciate Neil McCann enjoying playing with them, because they were just working at the same level and on the same wavelength, and that must be a joy for footballs, especially attacking footballs.
A difficult player to play against him, because I played against him in training, and it was very mobile. He used to move a lot, even on the wing. Very clever on the movement, and most of all, very good on scoring goals.
Wallace played first time by Rickson. Flew his header, he saw Wallace was wanting it back, and Rod Wallace makes it 4. That's a good finish.
That game was not a classic, certainly compared to the victory at Parkhead a few weeks before. It was tense, it was a cup final. And again, history was there for a Rangers team to win the treble in the manager's first season, and it broke the deadlock, it cut the ice, it cut that tension, but it was opportunistic. And Wallace is, again, his awareness, his movement, he didn't need asked twice for those kind of opportunities. It was my memory. And it was just enough on the day. And therefore he's a Rangers legend.
I remember having a shot, I think it got blocked with Mjalby, and there was wee Rod, just a typical poachers type finish, smashed it home, 1-0, treble secured, magic.
And Bronkhorst. Vidmar. It went away from Wallace, but it comes back to him! And Rangers are in front in the Scottish Cup final! And it's Ron Wallace!
Well, who else? The man who really has lit up Rangers' season since he came north of the border.
Here's Van Bronckhorst. It's all over! Last season they were left with nothing. This season they have everything. It's a tremendous treble for Dick Advocaat's new look Rangers team. Lorenzo Amoruso is about to show the watching world that Rangers have won the Scottish Cup and the treble.
Well, that's what dreams are made of, and hopefully I had a good dream, and made up with the treble, so that's good.
He knew how to move, he knew how to shoot, he knew how to really take away the central half from his position to let anybody else from his teammate take his position. So very smart, but it's not a coincidence that that team was very strong. It was full of great players and great men most of all.
Jim McCloskey and the match officials lead the two teams out. It's a huge night for these Old Firm supporters.
That was an underrated night for an Advocaat team, who by that point in that season, the Rangers team of 99-2000, I think, is technically the best Rangers team I've ever seen. Here was a night that was reminiscent of Walter's Rangers in the 90s. Celtic battered us that night. Albert's missed the penalty this time. There's another chance that pops up, and this time obviously falls to Rod. And in that maelstrom, and the weather was horrendous, and the game was just one of those very typical frenetic Old Firm games, he was anything but frenetic. He was calm, he was composed, and he just about squeezed it home.
Less than 5 minutes of this match to go. Stoppage time, of course, to be added. It's Van Bronckhorst. It's Rod Wallace. Here's a chance. Rod Wallace! That's the goal, which surely kills off Celtic's title hopes. And it's Rod Wallace's 14th of the season. All the composure in the world. Brilliant finish. It's 1-0 Rangers.
The one phrase that you probably hear often with Rod Wallace, and correctly so, pound for pound, one of the best signings that the club's ever made. It was a smart move, it was a sensible buy. It may not have been Advocaat's intention for him to be the 20-goal a season man that particular season, but he came and he contributed, and he was loved because, again, he did the biz in terms of numbers, but he had a huge work rate and a lot of energy, and that will always endear you to this support.
Changes for Rangers FC. Number 1.
Welcome back to La Manga. Rangers 1-0 down at the break to Hertha Berlin in the mid-season friendly that they're playing well on a training camp in Spain. Hertha back out for the second half already. Rangers yet to emerge. We are expecting a number of changes at half-time. Rangers trailing to that goal just before the break from Kempf, the Hertha Berlin captain, heading in the corner from Winkler. Good finish it was as well, but Rangers will be disappointed. I'm Andrew Dixon. Thanks very much for joining us wherever you are in the world. Of course, streaming free to air today on YouTube. I'm joined by Kevin Thompson, who has played in plenty of games like this against German teams in pre-season. This is a mid-season friendly, and so far it's not really going to plan for Rangers.
Yeah, probably huffed and puffed a wee bit, Andy. It's listen, difficult conditions like we keep on mentioning. You can see just the referee walking obviously over. You can see I don't know which coach it is, obviously with the white trainers in the top of the picture there. You can see the divots are are obviously quite profound and probably makes it for a difficult game. The passing, the slickness, no doubt the pitch will be quite dry now as well, with the temperatures being a wee bit hotter. But I just think probably an urgency, a wee bit more intent in the final third for the Rangers players would probably be a wee bit more expected and demanded by the manager and the staff. So it'll be interesting to see now he's made his changes, to see if there is a reaction, or there is a wee bit more impetus on that final third, and a wee bit more conviction when it comes to creating chances and making opportunities for each other.
Well, the second half just about to get underway, and as you can see, Rangers have made multiple changes to their team, led to believe that it was going to be a complete change of personnel at half-time. Cyril Dessers there, you can see, is one of the replacements. Bailey Rice in the background there as well. Ross McCausland, I saw him too. I believe Jack Butland is on. We'll give you a full breakdown of those substitutes as and when we get it. No graphics, of course, to lean on this afternoon, but we will talk you through them. Jose Cifuentes there as well on the pitch for Rangers, and Jack Butland, with his first touch of the afternoon, rolls out to Connor Goldson, who has also come on at the break. John Lee Ufeko over there on the far side too, and there's Leon King. Good to see him back in action. Of course, injury troubles for him. He was sidelined in pre-season, but has come back in, and is an early chance for Rangers perhaps. McCausland giving chase to that one. He might just add a bit more urgency as Rangers go forward, Kevin.
Yeah, plenty of enthusiasm and youth on the pitch now, so, and all wanting to stake a claim. They all want to be Rangers players. They want to play week in, week out. They want that jersey, so I'm pretty sure they'll be full of energy. I think Cole McKinnon sneaked in there as well next to Bailey Rice, so a lot of academy players getting an opportunity. I think it's that Robbie Fraser at left back as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they can stake a claim, if they can catch the manager's eye, because that's what you want to do when you get the opportunities. They don't come along very often, so let's hope some of them can shine.
Well, Rangers concede the free kick 30 yards out. It is Smail Prevliak who will take it, and it looks as though he's going to go for goal. It would take something very special indeed to beat Jack Butland from that kind of distance, but he's going to have a go at it anyway. Up he comes, has a shot, it's low and predictably smothered by Jack Butland. Butland won't want to be tested too much, but at the same time, I would imagine as a goalkeeper, if you get an early touch or two where they're quite comfortable, that's not a bad thing for you at all.
Yeah, you say it would do them the world of good, but I'm not so sure the experience, as you mentioned, that Jack's got. He'll be too phased by playing in this game, but certainly good to get a feel of the ball and hit quite well and dealt with quite well in difficult conditions. So certainly don't. I think the back line and the team in general won't want to have any opportunities for Jack to have to deal with too much.
Well, Bailey Rice was trying to find McCausland there. Hertha not convincing at all as they look to clear, and it'll be the first corner of the second half going Rangers' way.
Yeah, a couple of balls. See Scott Wright now in picture. Blistering pace as well. McCausland blistering pace. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe some more of the runs, Matondo probably drifted out into that left channel a wee bit more, coming inside on his right foot. So McCausland already has made an impetus to kind of run beyond Dessers, and that ball's been probably a wee bit more central. So it'll be interesting to see if they're maybe going to utilise a different area of the pitch.
Right to take the corner on the right hand side, out swinging, and it comes now deep towards the back post, headed away. Cifuentes is there though, wins the ball, but it's Winkler who clears for Hertha.
Yeah, and he's another one that needs to stake a claim. Cifuentes, he's a bit part really and probably not quite hit the ground running, so another one that will be desperate for these, this wee trip away to try and get under the manager's nose, and certainly lots of quality in that area of the pitch, so he'll know he's in a fight to try and stake a claim.
Yeah, Jose Cifuentes shares the same birthday as me. He's 25 in March, signed from LAFC.
Certainly not the same age, Andy.
Certainly not the same age, no. A lot more hair as well. Plenty of experience though for his age. Won the Supporters' Shield and the MLS Cup with LAFC in America. 19 caps for Ecuador as well, and a bit of a mixed start for Rangers. Personally, I thought he played quite well against Aberdeen at Pittodrie a few weeks ago. He has had his moments, but he was also sent off in the recent 3-1 win against Dundee. So takes possession now though, wins it and has a go from distance, but that one looked to always be drifting over. Indeed it does, but yeah, worth a go I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. I think it was more a cross rather than, but one extreme to the other. Brilliant play, great feet work, the wee Zidane trick to just drift away, and then just doesn't quite execute. He's almost, I think he was diagonal trying and drop it over the defender for Dessers, so just a miscue really that drifted over the goalkeeper's goal. So But he is one. Listen, I think he could be a good player. I think there's a good player in there. I think they're probably sending off, come at the wrong time for him. I think when you get in, you need that momentum, you need that running games, and he probably looks like that type of player. So he'll be craving that. He'll be desperate to get an opportunity. But listen, you need to perform to try and get the opportunities and build that momentum. So I'm sure this trip will do him the world of good.
Yeah, we mentioned one of your former teammates, Morris Edu, in the first half. I spoke to him earlier in the season about Cifuentes, and obviously Morris nowadays works as an analyst in the American media, and he saw Cifuentes, I think it was in 2019 at the Under-20 World Cup, was really impressed by him then and was quite excited by the prospect of him signing for Rangers when it came up. I think it's probably fair to say that at times, I mentioned it a couple of minutes ago, he's had his highs and his lows, perhaps has struggled to get up to speed with the pace, if you like, of the Scottish Premiership, but like you say, there's a player in there clearly. Is it one where obviously James Sands came over on loan from New York as well? Is it one where just when you move to a different league which has kind of different attributes in terms of physicality and that kind of thing, you just do need a bit more time perhaps than some would to settle into that?
Yeah, there is no time, unfortunately, at places like this, and that's why you need to hit the ground running. Listen, I think everybody needs that bending in period. They need time, they need patience, but you need to find a way as a player to get up to speed as quick as possible and to try and make sure that the performances are high, the energy levels are high, you look like you care, you carry yourself properly, because these are all things that can relate to the fans, and they can see you trying. Yeah, they might let you off with a wee one, but unfortunately, to become a good Rangers player, you need to perform, and the expectation level is really high, and it's just the demand that this club represents. So I'd like to tell everybody that you get loads of time, but you don't. So it's up to the boys to try and navigate around that and try and get in front of the fans and make sure they're in the team for as long as they can.
Well, we did see Cifuentes a minute ago just with a good touch to break down a Hertha attack on the edge of the box, and he's involved just now as well. McCausland inside to Rice. Rangers just feeling their way into this second half. 11 changes at the break. Of course, trailing 1-0 to that header from Kemp just before the half-time whistle. Connor Goldson. Leon King. 3 appearances last month, just ahead of the winter break. Good for him to get some action under his belt. Ball out wide to the left-hand side. All a bit disjointed again. Rangers not really making the most of their attacking opportunities, but also Hertha clearing the ball, but not much more than that, and just giving possession back to Rangers once again. Connor Goldson on the ball now, looks for Ufeko, instead goes the other way to King, inside now to Cifuentes. Plays the 1-2 with Rice. Nice passing in the central area from Rangers. Scott Wright now muscled off the ball, and in fact the free kick goes against Scott Wright, when in fact I thought he might have got the decision.
Yeah, just swivels away, doesn't quite get his body in. It's great to see that the young players getting an opportunity to try and impress the manager against a good outfit. You know, difficult. I keep on saying it, probably getting bored of saying the challenges, but listen, a lot of these players will have played on pitches like this, especially the ones that have been exposed to playing in the Lowland League and having to go to some difficult venues. So it's you know, certainly something that they'll have endured at different times, and what a great opportunity in front of the staff to try and showcase your talent, to make us a claim, to try and push yourself into that first team starting berth, hopefully.
Yeah, Aaron Lyle is on the bench as well. You've worked with all of these players, the likes of Ufeko and Cole McKinnon. You know, what is it like for these players when they come through the youth academy and they see what's ahead of them? It's a difficult path to tread successfully, but when you have opportunities like this, it obviously gives you that hope and that confidence boost, if you like, that you can do it, and the opportunities will be there if you apply yourself in the right way.
Yeah, listen, there'll be millions listening in to watching the game, and you know, everybody that supports the club would, you know, probably tell you they give their right arm to play for Rangers. So listen, it's difficult. If it was easy, everybody would want to do it. It's a brilliant life. It's an amazing club to represent. So the boys know, you know, and they should know, you know, how difficult it is, and the demand and expectation that's on them as young Rangers players, and how difficult it is to break through. So you know, I try to do that to them. I try to, you know, make sure their eyes were wide open to how hard a challenge it is, and how hard they really need to work to try and make sure that they can get in front of the manager or get an opportunity to train with the first team. So you only try and educate them the right way, and a lot of them, to be fair, boys like Leon King, they know exactly what's demanded of them, and hopefully that will stand them in good stead.
54 minutes gone in La Manga. Hertha Berlin 1, Rangers 0. This would be just the second defeat of Philippe Clement's reign if it stays that way. Hertha trying to enhance their lead if they can, but the attack breaks down, and it will be a corner.
Yeah, a wee bit unorthodox for a corner goal, and just drifts, cuts inside Robbie Fraser, just a wee reverse ball, just catches Rangers out, just down that side. But deal with the crossing ball. Now they need to defend another in-swinging corner.
Yep, it's Winkler that will take it once again. It was his assist that led to the opener for Hertha, and it comes up towards the back post, and Butland not totally convincing as he went for that, but did just enough to get the block. Bailey Rice involved as well. Hertha, in fact, there's a yellow card for Connor Goldson. Looks as though he has said something the referee doesn't like, and as we saw in the first half, the referee not slow to act on things like that.
He's not mucking about, the referee. You don't want to cross him. Just a deeper one that time for Hertha at the back post. As you mentioned, not quite the most pleasant viewing. See how they dealt with it. Got away in the end.
Hertha to take the throw on this left-hand side. Dessers tracking back to help out in defence, and it's McCausland who clears. And Rangers will have the throw, which McCausland will take. Of course, McCausland with a real rise in the last 2-3 months, given his opportunity by Stephen Davis when he was in interim charge. And he's really built on that, hasn't he, Kevin?
Yeah, I think it's probably the good thing when one manager loses his job, a new one comes in. The young players that are probably on the fringes that might not have quite staked a claim under the previous managers, they get almost a fresh hit to try and showcase their talent. And Ross has obviously been one that's caught the eye when he's been given opportunities to train with the first team under the new management, and he's took it, he's grabbed it with both hands, and now his challenge is, can he sustain it, can he stay in there, can he make himself a player that plays every week and continue to develop and continue to put in good performances. And listen, he took his goal brilliantly against Kilmarnock, so hopefully that will be the first of many, and he can kick on and really establish himself as a really good Rangers player.
Yeah, first goal in the league last time out in that 3-1 win against Kilmarnock. Also scored the equaliser against Aris Limassol in the Europa League, and of course Rangers are into the last 16 of the Europa League. They have the luxury of avoiding the playoff round, which means they don't play in Europe again until March the 7th, away from home, and then at home on the 14th of March. They'll find out their opponents in due course. The round of 16, sorry, the playoff round I should say, happening next month. Lots ahead of Rangers before then though, and immediately they're looking to try to get back into this game. 1-0 down. Cyril Dessers, the only player up in attack, a more recognised striker for Rangers in this second half. Long ball there from Hertha, trying to catch out the Rangers defence, but Butland deals with it. Long ball forward from McKinnon. Looking for McCausland, but doesn't quite come off, and Hertha can come away with it. Strong tackle from Leon King. Great to see him back involved as well. Obviously, a lot of game time last season, particularly in the first half of the campaign. Played all 6 Champions League matches, which clearly was quite a sore experience for Rangers, and for Leon King as a young defender. It's quite a hard environment to be learning in, but nevertheless you would expect that he will have learned from that and will take that on, and obviously is looking to take it on in more appearances now.
Yeah, he's a brilliant boy. I spent a lot of time with him in the academy. Comes from good people as well. Mam's a diamond for him. Probably a mammy's boy, which he won't mind me saying, but just probably thrown in at the deep end.
Rangers intercept. It's Scott Wright who does ever so well initially to take possession of the ball, but then perhaps rushes it a little and takes that shot wide of the target. He will feel he should have done better there.
Yeah, he should. Just a snapshot, really. a mistake, good first touch, just drags across it really, Scott Wright, in a good area as well, win the ball back, misplaced pass, just a snapshot. But just touching on Leon King really, Andy, it's hard to get away from how good these boys are and how great they are to work with, and you know that a lot of them might not go and succeed, but the relationships you build up, the time you spend with these boys, and you know how much they care and how much they're chasing their dream, and exposed at the real top level, Leon, and playing a wee bit in a different position at right back. So fingers crossed he can continue to put himself under the manager's nose, and hopefully other opportunities will be on the horizon for him.
And the thing is that Rangers, for such a long time, the hope at the club has been that he is one that would succeed, or rather the belief, obviously, the hope everybody will succeed, but he is one that Philippe Clement is not the first manager to be given him opportunities. He's played for Michael Beale previously, and for Giovanni van Bronckhorst previously as well. So as he crosses this ball in, he is a player that people have had faith in the past.
Yeah, he was always a big hitter in the academy. He was always a talking player, I would call them. When you go in, people say, "Oh, you'll love this boy, Leon King." And I was lucky I got exposed to him quite early. I think he was maybe 14/15. He was in the school programme that I used to take in the afternoons, and just built up a relationship. And he was different. He wanted to learn. He was intrigued. He was, you could have a conversation with him. He was always training with boys that were older and bigger and stronger than him. So you had to work it out. But he was a physical specimen at 14/15. So his things probably playing at his own age come quite easy for him, and he's probably has had a lot too soon and too young, and he's had to deal with that. I think a lot of people forget that. So, but he's a brilliant boy, and let's hope he can really kick on and he can flourish, and hopefully the manager gives him opportunities.
Well, this is the last day of his teens. He turns 20 tomorrow. Played for the under-20s at the age of 14, so certainly been around for a while at Rangers, and keen to show in the next few months what he can do. Davy Lavery there, the Rangers masseur, getting the ball caught under his chair.
Look, I'm so unsociable, Disco, isn't he? The top, he's the top man at the club. He is. It doesn't get any better than Disco, and rest his soul, Jimmy Bell. They were an integral part to any success that we had in grounding you and looking after you and keeping your morale high. So brilliant lads.
Dessers tries to break down the left-hand side. He might just have given away a free kick. Indeed he has. Just coming down and showing decent pace on the break initially, but just getting caught up. You were talking about Davy Lavery there, and as you say, the late Jimmy Bell as well. You hear so often Tiny Gallagher passing away recently as well. These are people that, they are. I don't want to go down the road of cliches and saying they're the lifeblood of the club, but the fact is they are. They're the ones that keep the place ticking along as much as anybody else.
Yeah, they just give you a great upbringing. It's what makes the place special. Andy, when you see people and they've been there a long time, they give you the expectations, they treat you properly, they care about you, they're desperate to see you do well, and they're there for you when things are tough. Because listen, it's not always sunshine at this place, and it's a difficult environment to play your football, a brilliant one, but at the same time a lot of pressure and a lot of prestige comes along with representing a club. So I think to people like Davey Disco, he was always there for me. He was always one, looked after us, obviously the masseur at the club, always looked after you, squeeze you in here or there to get a massage, obviously, just a brilliant person. Loves the club, tells you the expectation, tells you the stories. He's just a great guy to be around.
And I can tell you his massages are excruciatingly sore if he finds a place where you've had an injury in the past. Many years ago when I was training for a marathon, he gave me a massage and found an old calf tear that I had, and wasn't slow in letting me know about it. So, yep, Davy Lavery looking on as Rangers look to get back into this game. John Ufeko with the ball, playing to Connor Goldson. Ufeko, good game time for him as well. Obviously real potential there too. We have seen glimpses of him in the first team earlier in the season.
Yeah, he was one that got in really, and he's almost a forgotten man. He's if you told me that there was going to be lots of changes, it might not have been him. So mistake for Connor Goldson.
Yep, and Hertha are in. It's a chance for the second. Butland comes out to narrow the angle, does really well too, diving down to his right hand side, getting two strong hands on it. It's a corner for Hertha Berlin, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, just sloppy play really for Connor Goldson. When he does get caught in the wrong position and it gets beyond him, that recovery pace that we spoke about, Leon Balogun in the first half might not quite have that. It might not be a key attribute for Connor Goldson. So when you do turn it over and people do get in behind you, but what a nice thing it is to have Jack Butland behind you, who makes a super save, out quick, down low, down to his right hand side, and does enough to thwart the striker.
Yeah, 34 games, 16 clean sheets for Jack Butland, 12 of them in the league, more than anybody else in the Scottish Premiership, also a couple in the League Cup and 2 in the Europa League as well. 9 England caps, the last of those coming more than 5 years ago now against Switzerland in September 2018. And as we discussed pre-match, certainly people at Rangers would like to think he might have a chance of finding his way back into the England squad if he keeps up the good form he has shown in the first few months of his time in Glasgow. Corner for Hertha Berlin, and it comes now from the left-hand side, near post again. Rangers doing enough to deal with it. Dessers does well, he's held there by his man and will win a free kick. And another yellow card coming out as well. I'm not entirely sure I saw that as a booking, but the referee thought otherwise. Third one of the game.
He must be on a promise to get 5 yellow cards or something in this game, because he's been sharp on them, isn't he? The referee certainly not holding them back.
Cifuentes takes the free kick to McKinnon. King. Connor Goldson with that almost trademark big switch pass, which we've seen so often from him previously. Fraser coming forward there to good effect. Ball comes into the box. Decent effort from Dessers, and the keeper reacts very well to that one. Good attempt from Dessers. A little bit more like it from Rangers. They did well to work the opportunity, actually, because there were plenty of Hertha players crowding them out. But Sergio Dessers not far away.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't think he quite gets a hold of it. It looks like he's stretching, Andy, to be honest. But brilliant ball for Connor Goldson. Big searching diagonal. We used to see it, that big long one to Ryan Kent when he used to make that run outside to in, get in behind so often. Seen James Tavernier, you think of Jermaine Defoe scoring that goal. I think it was against Livingston. That kind of playing on the shoulders, and Connor's accustomed to playing that big one. And then great industrial play for Robbie Fraser just to keep it live. And I don't know if it was Cole McKinnon in the end that stood it up, or Scott Wright, but I think he was just stretching for it, Dessers, and doesn't quite make the contact that he would like, but good snapshot nevertheless.
Yeah, I think it may well have been Scott Wright who set it up for Sergio Dessers. Nevertheless, didn't go in. Still, Rangers 1-0 down to Hertha. That goal was indeed for Jermaine Defoe against Livingston. I think it was his 300th career goal, if I recall correctly. What a finish it was as well. Hertha on the attack, patiently trying to build on this left-hand side. Ross McCausland standing up. He's got Leon King in support as well. And in the end, it's Jack Butland who gathers. Good header down from Robbie Fraser.
He does brilliant, Robbie Fraser. Just uses his body well, good composure, rather than flustering and, thrashing it out or trying to just head it out for a corner. Good composure to knock it back to Jack Butland.
Connor Goldson in possession. Been at the club since 2018, Connor Goldson. 292 competitive appearances now for the club. And unlike today, he's never come off the bench in a competitive match. He's always been a starter when he has played. 80 European appearances as well. Not so long ago, when you were in the team and we were talking about Barry Ferguson taking on the European record, I think from John Gregg back then, but there's quite a few players have surpassed that figure or are close to surpassing that figure. Goldson is one of those who already has played more than certainly than John Gregg did in Europe for the club. He's been a real part of the success that Rangers have had in the last few years, and particularly in Europe as well. He's been a massive figure in some crucial victories.
Yeah, I don't think it's doing him a disservice to say that, Big Connor, when the team is up against it and you need to defend more and the team's maybe a wee bit deeper and lots of balls come in the box and you're playing against good players and you're potentially sitting in a wee bit more and playing on the counter-attack, I think he was a wall at times, and so many balls coming into good areas and he was always heading. He was like a magnet to the ball, and then he had that wee season, I don't know if it was I think it was 55, he got good numbers as well with putting the ball in the back of the net, so he was dangerous in both boxes. But I think he's been ultra consistent, and long may it continue. Obviously signed a long-term deal just after 55, so a few years to come.
Yeah, almost halfway through that long-term deal, signed a 4-year contract. He's under contract at Ibrox until the summer of 2026. You mentioned the 2021 title win season. Played all 38 games back then, 26 clean sheets, a record for the league. Just 13 goals conceded, a real pillar of that Rangers defence. Hertha are the ones with the clean sheet at the moment, though, although that could change. Rangers trying to work it to McCausland, who does very well, quick feet there to take the ball the long way around his man. Cifuentes now in support, back to McCausland. King's there as well, who'll probably receive. Indeed he does. Inside to Goldson. Rangers enjoying plenty of possession, one or two opportunities in the first half of the second half, but still to make their mark. Butland long ball upfield, looking for Dessers, beaten to the ball though, and Hertha can come away with it. The Germans having a decent season themselves. Mentioned in the first half, they're 9 unbeaten in all competitions, going into the winter break, which began in the middle of December, as they just run the ball out for a goal kick there. But into the last 8 of the German Cup. Very competent team. Of course, Rangers already played a second tier team from Germany this season, played Hamburg at Ibrox in pre-season, winning 2-1 on that occasion, and that was a decent test for Rangers that day too, Kevin. I think Rangers certainly the better side, but as we touched on earlier on, you know, whether it's a first, second, third, fourth tier side, and you played against plenty of them in pre-season with Rangers over in Germany when you were a player at the club, it's always a really, really difficult test, and certainly so far Hertha today have stood up well and looked pretty decent.
Yeah, they're always big, fit, strong, physical teams, really, and and you know you're in for a game. You know, I don't think you're talking about playing a minnows and going and playing a part-time team, or you're talking about established teams and, you know, players that will, you know, this is their livelihood. You're not, you know, just turning up to somebody's backyard and dominating the ball and going and score 4 or 5 and you just at your own leisure. These boys are fit, you know, they're good players, and you know, the expectation on Rangers is, you know, changes, the disruption in the team, probably looking after themselves, that real cutting edge where you might not stick your head where it hurts, you know, in these games, not wanting to, you know, do anything. I'm pretty sure the manager would have said that to the players. Listen, nothing silly, you know, look after yourself, don't be flying into any stupid tackles, which would probably been a challenge for me. But at the same time, I think we touched on it, no injuries, get through it, minutes in the legs, get going again, and yeah, we want quality, we want to see the ball in the back of the net, but I'm totally understanding of what the game's, you know, based up to meant to be.
Well, play just paused for a second there. Kempf, the goal scorer, looked like he felt something in his calf. I didn't think there was any contact, I've got to say, but play is stopped nonetheless. Of course, we mentioned it in the first half, this is the first of 2 mid-season friendlies for Rangers, 2 in very quick succession as well, ahead of the Dumbarton game in the Scottish Cup next weekend. The second match on Tuesday night at Ibrox. Get yourself along if you've not already got a ticket. £15 for adult, £10 for concessions, £5 for children and just £1 for junior MyGers members. And it's 5 MyGers points per ticket as well. They can be purchased on the club website at rangers.co.uk. Big test for Rangers on Tuesday night against a team that's into the Champions League. Came out of a group with Bayern Munich ahead of Galatasaray and Manchester United, who were bottom of that section. McCausland tries to take it out of defence and does win the free kick. A little pull of the shirt. Fairly low-key atmosphere in La Manga as the sun goes down. Starting to creep into the closing stages of this game. 18 minutes remaining. Rangers still trailing by that 1 goal scored by Kempf. Header just before the break beyond Robbie McCrory. Given some rare game time in the Rangers first team. Played the first 45 minutes. The whole team changed at the break though. Cifuentes. Leon King. Ball eventually goes out for a throw. It looked like it'd gone a couple of times, but eventually it does, going Rangers' way. King takes the throw back to Connor Goldson, partnered in central defence by John Lee Ufeko. Big crossfield switch again, looking for Scott Wright. Just a little bit too much pace in that one though, and not an awful lot of fluency from Rangers coming forward. That's probably the one thing that has stood out for me, is that the ideas haven't always been there this afternoon.
Yeah, I think when you think you're asking John Lundstrom and Cantwell probably having a wee bit more control, and you know the kids getting an opportunity, you know, Bailey Rice, Cole McKinnon, to showcase their talent, and I think that's what the manager will be looking for. Have you got the personality? Can you handle it? Will you play forward? Will you take the ball? Will you demand off of first team players? Like, these are all wee things and characteristics that the manager, I'm pretty sure, or I hope, will be looking for. So, you know, it's not just about going and putting the ball in the back of the net. It's not just about you know, the team going and winning. These will be wee things that the manager will be learning all the time, that which young players can handle it, what is their personality like in the changing room, what's it like in the hotel, what they like at dinner, Because listen, you need to stick your chest out if you want to play for this club, and these are all wee tests. When you're getting beat, can they handle it? But do they want the ball? Do they not want the ball? Do they shrink? Do they survive? So it'll be. I'm pretty sure these things will be going through the manager's head.
And of course, I'd imagine when you're working at the academy and the coaches that are at the academy just now as well, that's the kind of thing that they'll be trying to drum into those players' heads all the time. It's like you've got to stand up here. Don't go hiding. Don't shrink into a corner. Be part of it and make yourself seen and known and make an impact.
My favourite part in the academy, Andy, was seeing the boys struggle, because domestically, listen, the teams win regularly, the good teams, they got good budget, they can recruit players, they can steal everybody else's best players, so, and that's not all the time, that's not a given, but I liked when the team went abroad and played against other big academies, or we went over to Ireland and played against Man United and up against it and see the players struggle. I learned more about the players watching them struggle than I did seeing them winning.
Cifuentes takes possession. He did have Dessers up in front of him. Dessers just letting him know that as well, but decides to take the shot on himself well over the crossbar in the end. Cifuentes.
Yeah, I don't mind that though, and pulling the trigger. A bit like Matondo in the first half, you're brave enough to go and pull the trigger. So, Dessers is another one who'll want a goal, he'll want to make an impact. He's mixed reviews really for the faithful, and when the big opportunities come, whether it's these type of games to try and build that momentum, to try and grow his confidence.
Just under quarter of an hour remaining. Hertha Berlin in the lead and trying to get themselves forward. But as much of this game has been, all just a little bit disjointed. Hertha's own domestic campaign not far from resuming as well. A slightly longer break in Germany than we have in Scotland, just the 2.5 weeks it ends up being this year between that Kilmarnock game and then returning to action at Dumbarton, a venue that Rangers in a first team context haven't been for a few years, since the days in the Championship, but of course it has been used as a youth team venue for quite some time now as well, so it's one that a lot of supporters are familiar with down at the Rock. Cifuentes just goes for the ball again, doesn't quite come off for him. Still looking for his first goal in Rangers colours. Did have one disallowed quite early on, I think it was against Livingston. But yet to get on target otherwise, Jose Cifuentes, and it would probably do him no harm in terms of making an impact with the support to get on the score sheet at some point, but that attempt a couple of moments ago well off target. Instead, at the other end now, it's Hertha with a corner. Coming from the left-hand side. It was Gechter who had the header initially, but sent it the wrong way, away from goal rather than towards it, and in the end Jack Butland taking possession. Ufeko now out to Fraser, searching ball looking for McCausland, doesn't quite find him, and Wright recovers well to win possession back for Rangers at the second attempt. McKinnon, confident pass from him before McCausland loses the ball and gives away the free kick. Signed a new long-term contract with the club before Christmas, Ross McCausland, building on that terrific start he's had to first team life at Rangers. Now on a deal until 2027, and a full Northern Ireland international into the bargain as well. Really has been a terrific campaign for the youngster so far. One of the real success stories for Rangers in season 23-24. Well, the referee just having a word with Cyril Dessers. Not happy, I think, with the way he's putting himself about. No card on this occasion. I did wonder if it might come out again. 3 bookings so far but just a word from the referee. Dessers, he does have quite a physical game, and to be fair to him, he works really, really hard, but not to the referee's liking on that occasion.
Yeah, he's just backing in. I think it suits him. Just a long ball for Leon King. You can see, I think it's Leon's played a couple, Connor Golson's played a couple. There's been a couple that have been in the right areas, and there's been a couple more so for Connor Golson that have just run through to the goalkeeper or out for a by kick. But certainly something that they've probably been told at half time. Can we play over the top? Can we stretch them? And then obviously you need the runners. I mean, you've got McCauslands, etc. You've always got that willing runner, and you've got the speed to get in behind, like they did have in the first half again with Matondo. But probably just the accuracy of the pass has let the team down at the moment.
Couple of substitutions for Hertha. Off comes Bukalakis. The two players coming on, Tim Hoffman, number 51, and Boris Lum, number 52. Just slotting into a central midfield position. Hertha taking the opportunity as well to play a couple of their younger players, as Cifuentes shown a bit of space by his opponent and manages to win back possession. Rangers, so a fairly unlikely chain of events there, have a corner. Just under 10 minutes to go. Can they get back in level terms though?
Yeah, but pinball, won't it? I think it's Bailey Rice out swinging corner. He's left peg, no doubt.
Yeah, it looks like you have called it. Bailey Rice to take the set piece. Rangers still searching for a way back into this game. Not too many opportunities, but Rice delivers. Hertha clear, and it is Lum, who just came on a couple of moments ago, who clears. Fraser covering well though to play back to Jack Butland. Twice Player of the Year at Stoke City. You'd imagine he might have the chance to make it a treble this season. One of the outstanding performers for Rangers so far this season. Could there be a couple of trebles coming his way? Lots of work for Rangers to do still in the league, but certainly kicking off in the Scottish Cup next weekend, and with it all there for them if they want it in the Scottish Premiership. Cifuentes sticks out a foot, does well to stop that attack from Hertha.
He just gets caught again. Looked a wee bit awkward really stepping in there, and then another awkward one, the pass.
King. Cifuentes, nice one-touch passing from Rangers. Bailey Wright involved, demanding the ball back as well from Connor Goldson, which I'm sure you'll love to see. Kevin, we'll come to you in a second. Here's Ros McCausland, cuts back. Who's on the edge of the box? Well, it's Lum that clears for Hertha, and the attack breaks down, but some nice passing there from Rangers as the free kick is conceded.
Yeah, the best pass of the game for me, Andy, that. Bailey Rice, as you mentioned, demanding the ball off of Connor Golson, so it goes back to that bit. Have you got the personality? Can you stick your chest out? Can you demand it off the first team players? Listen, you got to respect them, but listen, you want their jersey, so you need to stand out. And brilliant pass there, great run for Ross McCausland. Unfortunate with the cutback, but the boy's certainly got talent. Bailey Rice, I think you can see a pass. He's got a good picture, so it'll be interesting to see how he develops over potentially the next 12 to 18 months. Because young players nowadays, even Roll McCausland, you could argue was that wee bit later, but you sometimes feel as though when they start to get to 18, 19, 20 nowadays, they almost miss the boat. But listen, when you're at a big club, hopefully there's a bit of patience there and the opportunities do arise.
Well, time very much on Bailey Rice's side, and he's made an encouraging start to life at Rangers at first team level. Came into the team last season and has certainly made an impact. Difficult to get opportunities with the options that are ahead of him, but does have a chance this afternoon and appears to be taking it.
Yes, I think that the young boys for me, Andy, listen, I'm not saying because I know it because I played there, but to be a centre midfield player for Rangers, I have a vision of how quick you need to move about the pitch. That doesn't always need to be box to box. It's just how quick you get to the ball. Can you put danger out? Have you got that athletic capacity to cover the ground 20, 30 yards in front of you, to the side of you, to track back, and then be brave enough to handle the ball. 9 times out of 10, what you're playing through will be a wall of jerseys. So that pass, have you got the personality to go and play it? It might get intercepted. You might give the ball away. The fans will want you to play forward. They can't always go forward. But these are things that these young players that want to play in that position that obviously they're breaking through. They need to understand that that's going to be demanded of them.
Well, Hertha with the chance to break, and that's a great ball to release striker. You saw Connor Goldson coming from quite a distance there. Good slide tackle from him, and Rangers can come clear through Ross McCausland, who I think will get the throw there. Yep.
Yeah, just a wee bit scruffy when they turn the ball over the back line this second half. You'd almost go centrally rather than down the sides. Obviously a new partnership forming, or one that the manager's having a look at, and the experience of Connor Goldson in with a young back line.
It was Sherhant that had the opportunity there to break as the ball comes in. Dessers has the chance to shoot, but it's just nicked off his toe at the very last minute. It looked as though he was going to release the shot, but Hertha do just enough. I think it might have been Winkler that just got in there ahead of him. We have seen that from Dessers once or twice this season, where he's had the opportunity and it's just got away from him. And I suppose that's the frustrating thing with him, because he does do a lot of good work, and he's scored 9 goals, quite a few assists as well, and some of his build-up play is good, but you know, just sometimes it has broken down for him at just the wrong moment.
Yeah, it's I suppose frustrating really. And you, listen, no more than me, you're desperate just for him to get on the end of things, but you know, it's just that anticipation, that reaction. It's, you know, sometimes you might think that, you know, a bit flat-footed at times really, you know, that anticipation. I think the best ones have that, so I just think he needs one of the big moments to go for him.
Here's McCausland into the box now after the ball from Ufeko, and cut back again. I was looking for Bailey Rice, but it was Lum that just got in ahead of him. Unlucky there, lovely ball from Ufeko initially. Rangers pressing in these final stages into the final 5 minutes now. 1-0 down to Hertha Berlin. Looking to get on level terms before the final whistle. Ufeko. Back to Jack Butland. It's Goldson now again to Ufeko, who has given a decent account of himself in this second half. Certainly looks composed, not out of place at all. Desser's almost with the chance to break there, but doesn't quite happen for him. The highlight of his time at Rangers, undoubtedly that goal away to Real Betis before Christmas. A memorable 3-2 win in Spain, the first time Rangers have won against a Spanish team in Spain. Of course, they did win a certain Cup Winners' Cup in 1972 against Dynamo Moscow. So not their first win in Spain, but certainly first win in Spain against a Spanish team, and it was a result that took them into the last 16 of the Europa League as group winners. Cifuentes, final pass not what it should have been. Looking for Scott Wright, doesn't come off though, and Hertha can work the ball out from the back. That'll be a free kick as well.
Yeah, it just comes across, does Robbie Fraser. But good play initially, you know, Leon King, Ross McCausland, good interplay, then into Cifuentes, as you mentioned, just that lackey quality. That's that final part. I think McCausland's been a live wire since he come on. He's threatened in behind, he's had a couple of opportunities, he's had a couple of cutbacks that have not quite come off, but certainly been the one that's looked, especially in the front line, when you think of Dessers and Scott Wright, he seems to have just chipped in with that wee bit more than they pair.
Yep. El Jindanui, the substitute, going down under the challenge from Robbie Fraser. A free kick. The referee saying just to wait for his whistle. Hertha with the chance with a couple of minutes to go to perhaps extend their advantage. 1-0 up. Decent recovery from them after a 3-0 defeat to Mechelen in midweek. Also in La Manga, on a training camp of their own. Free kick will come in from the right hand side. Well, he takes it on himself, El Jindanui, but Jack Butland more than equal to it as he rolls out now for McKinnon. Rangers trying to work it down that left hand side. Fraser steps in though. Better option to find Connor Goldson. McCausland. Ufeko. Nice pass through the lines to McKinnon. And here's McCausland. It's on target. Comfortable enough in the end for Ernst in the Hertha goal. Decent attempt, but it was never going to beat the keeper from there.
Yeah, I thought actually it was hard to tell just with the defender in line with almost the ball that was obviously going towards the goal, but an audacious attempt for Ross McCausland, coming out the sky, but good initial play. Ufeko, great pass in, I think into Cole McKinnon, the wee flick round the corner, the early ball in for Robbie Fraser, a wee bit more like it. And it just comes back to McCausland's probably been the one that showed wee glimpses of quality.
Here's Dessers, plays the ball in, and well, Cifuentes, it seemed as that was a great opportunity for him, but the connection got it all wrong, past the post instead, and you can't help but feel that that was the opportunity for Rangers to get back in level terms, which they may now have just missed the boat on that front.
Yeah, I think he goes with his left foot. I almost think he can swipe his right foot at it, but he goes with his left, almost trying to open his body up, and he just jabs at it, really doesn't use the speed in the ball to guide it towards the goal. But good run, good ball for Dessers. Without too much excitement really in the final third, we've probably grasped onto half chances and little glimpses rather than any real sustained bits of quality.
Well, into stoppage time. There's either a dodgy exhaust or the Hertha Ultras have turned up in the background. Lots of smoke and fireworks by the looks of it. Rangers trying to get in level terms as smoke comes onto the pitch, and it's Dessers now with the shot, but good block in the end there. It was a nice turn actually from Dessers, but alert defending to deny him. McCausland now on the right hand side, and that should be a throw. Yeah, the free kick has actually gone McCausland's way because it would have been a throw otherwise for Hertha. Ball lifted into the box, still not cleared. Rice tries to get it back into the mix. Now it's Goldson. Ball might have struck his hand there, but play continues, and Goldson then has to slide to retain possession. Rangers still got it. Here's Scott Wright. Fraser down the line now. Ball comes into the box. Attempt on the turn, and McCausland just has the ball nipped off his toe there at the last moment, just when it looked as though he might have an opportunity. Well into stoppage time now, not much left at all for Rangers. Cifuentes. Connor Goldson, 35 yards out, tries to lift the ball in. Taken down on the edge of the box by Scott Wright, but over the bar, and that should just be about that.
Yeah, a wee bit of excitement at the end there, really. A couple half chances. Scott Wright's one, Cyril Dessers, shifting it back to goal, getting his shot off. Ross McCausland almost nipping it at the back post. I actually thought Connor Goldson, when he first took his touch there, Andy, he was going to shoot for distance, but difficult one ways back to goal for Scott Wright, but probably all a bit too late for Rangers in the end.
Well, there's a goal kick. Play does continue for just now as the fireworks display goes on in the background. Not much sparkle from Rangers in this game. What are the plus points from it though, Kevin? Because certainly there's minutes in the legs as the full-time whistle does go, and it finishes 1-0 to Hertha Berlin. So a defeat for Rangers, which is disappointing, but do you take the positives in that it's another 90 minutes? There's certain players like Raskan in the first half getting 45 minutes under his belt after a couple of months out injured. There are still little positives because the result in these matches is never really massively important, but I'm sure there will be things that Philippe Clement will take from it.
Yeah, listen, I've heard the manager talk about winners do it all the time. Winners consistently turn up and produce, really. So I'm sure he'll have wanted to win the game, but I think there's a bigger picture, Andy. I think the health of the squad, minutes in the legs, as you mentioned, difficult conditions with the pitch being a wee bit, lots of wee divots, and you could see it was bobbling around. There was no doubt about that. But I think a healthy squad, albeit we don't know how the players are in at half time, the ones that come off, but it didn't look like there was anyone carrying knocks or anyone struggling or anyone pulling up. We've certainly never seen the medical staff on the bench. So listen, good minutes in the legs for the boys, and some food for thought. The manager giving different players opportunities, different positions for some. So I'm pretty sure he'll have took a wee bit out of it.
Well, full time 1-0 to Hertha Berlin. Rangers slide to defeat in La Manga. They will stay there for a couple of days to conclude their training camp. They'll return to Glasgow on Monday, and then of course it's that friendly on Tuesday night against Copenhagen. Full ticket information on rangers.co.uk. Just £15 for adults. So get yourself along to that one on Tuesday night if you can. The real stuff then kicks off again next weekend away to Dumbarton in the Scottish Cup. Plenty of action in the second half of the campaign as Rangers look to go for title 56. Work to do, 8 points behind in the title race, but those 2 games in hand, so much to look forward to. Thank you very much for joining us. It has been a worthwhile 90 minutes for Rangers, but unfortunately it does end in a 1-0 defeat. Can they bounce back against Copenhagen on Tuesday as they ramp up preparations for their return to competitive action next weekend? Thanks very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure having your company. We'll speak to you soon.